Hey guys, it's Gino here. Welcome to the stream. Sorry for the hold up. I've been struggling with IRL stuff, but for the most part it's been handled. And now I've got some time. Hey Carmen. Good seeing you again. Oops, oh wait, wrong one. Hey, let's get started.
이 아범의 나를 찾는 것은 예의에 어긋난다고 생각하지 않나?
Alright, while we're here,
나와 시선을 맞추.
before we begin, I went and got Wild Hunt Heathcliff. I've also
이 아범의 나.
I'm also going to put him on the uptime mod. Hold on. Yes, please. And here we go. Let's get this out the door, shall we? Ooh-wee. Yep, call it a advancement in evolution. Money well spent, I'd say. The drizzling rain tears through my heart, shearing it painfully like cold shards of glass. Yeah, the stream just started, Gale. Welcome! It's been a while. The rain holds memories of the past, each drop with a memory of that manner carved into my very being from the day I was taken from the streets. So I stand in the rain, the thundering monsoon. Every cold sensation a painful reminder that I must become retribution itself, a vengeance to tear those accursed bastards apart. There wasn't even a shelter, an umbrella to shield me from the rain. Nothing gave me reprieve from the rain, not even the thinnest layer of fabric to stop it from tearing into my skin. A delusional thought that this life, this existence may be worth enduring if I could have those moments of relief. That, as long as I could wait out the rain and dry my drenched clothes. I did not have even the faintest mirage of such hopes. I knew this life was not to be one of relief. Ha! Good. I don't need anything like that holding back my rage, my vengeance. I have already lost my recollection of a few things that set me off on my path of revenge. There was something there, something that kindled this rage within me, something that set me on this path of destruction the moment I left the manor, but... No, these are but meaningless ruminations. There is no straying from the path of retribution. To those bastards at the manor who so ruthlessly pelted me with cruel, heavy rain, I bring you flesh-rending, bone-shattering tempest of ruin. And that is all I need to perpetuate this existence. That is more than enough reason to live on. This forest is on a high, silent hill. The damnably grand manor remains in my sight still, past the overgrown forest, even as the storm makes its landing upon the skies beneath which I stand. A clear sight of my target is good fuel for my rage, like a funnel for this boiling hatred within me. I see the butlers come out to dry the manor's dirty laundries. I see guests coming and going from the manor, arriving to enjoy the occasional banquet, and I recall the fleeting pockets of joy. I recall my caretaker, the chief butler, who cared for me more than anyone else despite her brusque and surly disposition. No, illusions all. Hellish pain fades away into the fog of memories past, twisting them into sentimental reminiscence. This is nothing but a feeble trick of the mind, beguiling me, an attempt to paint over the hurt with joy. After all, my memories with her have now long faded past the opaque mist. Yet I wasn't alone in those memories. There was a... No, I'll obliviate them all. Once I excise them, my past, my memories, and my mind will no longer play such tricks on me. Nothing but pointless memories, nothing but hurt painted over with false joy of reminiscence. There is nothing left for me in that manner, no repose, no momentary reprieve. When was it? When was it the day I first wielded this blade, or was it the day I met and observed my countless selves across the endless worlds? Or was it the day of my assault upon the young master's mansion, when I tore through countless butlers and made a mountain of their corpses? Though its origin is a mystery to me still, I came to learn how to command the loyalty of the dead. Yet I had no teacher. I suppose my transformation was inevitable, as it was for my countless other selves in the infinite worlds. I am perpetually surrounded by the screeching, pouring hatred of the dead. Yet I find it quite amusing, the unfair, illogical nature of the world, that they have no choice but to bid me their loyalty despite it all. I led the march of the wild hunt. I mauled the young master's useless arm off his torso. And I declared from the top of my lungs that I shall soon host a banquet of my own at that accursed manor. I'll give them more than enough time to prepare. The young master whose arm I mauled will temper and whet his saber keen with hatred as his flame. The chief butler, who still seeks the long-dead mistress, will be brutal with her serviette. My old caretaker, her heart gashed by betrayal, will strike me with thunderous rebuke. They will join my banquet with utter preparation, and only then shall I exact a revenge truly meaningful. I shall await them with my march. I wish to see them charge into us, their eyes bloodshot with all kinds of emotions, their veins pulsating with tension. Yet, in the end, I will crush them all. And atop the watering heights, in the crumbling ruins of the manor, I will stand alone. There, I will release my endlessly festering woe and rage at... Who was to hear my cry? To whom was I to pour my heart out? No, there's everything I've done has hinged on, it was all to, it's raining again. If even the cutting raindrops failed to summon this memory, then it cannot have been more important than the culmination of the pain that I endured. Thus, the lost memory signifies nothing to me. Perhaps it will return once I raise this manor to ashes. Then I will have reached my destination, my vengeance complete. However lost my memories may have become. Perhaps the mirror is full of lies. All that remains in the fog of my memories are these words someone had once conveyed to me. Oh yeah, I sharded Wild Hunt. I sharded him.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은
I sharded him and I'll do it again. Now,
나와 시선을 맞출 정도의 위치라 하더라도
now I figure what comes next is, well, who do I pick next, really? H will come to mind. But Ishmael's got a lot. Oh well.
기아범의 날
I should also mention, Hafumi, I already got Scotty-ish, but more Boatworks-ish? That could be useful. I'll consider that. Hold that thought. Ishmael... 245. Your early snack. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so you're suggesting I get more Boatworks-ish. Alright, I hear ya. I hear ya. Alright, that would be 400 shards. I see where you're getting at. But for now... Warp Express, gentlemen. First class. If you have time, try to do as many mirror dungeons as you could. Yeah, I don't think I'll be streaming them though. It takes a lot of time. I'm almost at 120, so I see what I get what you're selling. I get what you're selling. But anyways. Alright. How did this happen? First, we boarded the warp train to get to our next destination, P-Corp. Got into our fancy first class flash freeze hibernation capsules, and we were supposed to arrive at P-Corp after a quick blink of an eye, but... Dante, please respond. There's... The first thing I saw when my vision returned was the perplexed look on Faust, who had entered hibernation at the same time as I did. Then I realized that we woke up mid-transit on the warp train. Which could only mean that we're now stranded in some lost unknown dimension. Dante, I understand your considerable degree of disorientation, but... What the hell happened? First things first, let's rewind and return to the very start of this highly unfavorable situation we find ourselves in. A few days ago. Our next destination is the warp train, Dante. What? Yep, that's where it all started. There I was, still perplexed by the incident at T-Corp, with my awful idea of clearing the air by asking Virgilius for our next destination, not knowing the storm that my innocent question would bring. Verily, I must have misheard! I'm quite certain you didn't, Quixote. We are now en route to the T-Corp warp train station. That warp train station must have some conundrum that must be resolved there, indeed. A quest that must be swiftly addressed at the station, yes? Did a distortion pop up at one? Sorry. Did a distortion pop up at one of the warp platforms or something? I see that you are now significantly less disinclined to take on some side jobs, but no. We are boarding the warp train to get to P-Corp, end of story. There's nothing between the lines, so don't try reading into it. Lament. Okay, so... Okay. Let me see here. Y'all are suggesting I get more Boatworks Ishmael next, because I know for a fact her harpoon is goated as hell. But something else comes to mind. Should I keep an eye out for the N-Corp, for the fraud duo? Contempt, Fell Bullet and Contempt. Should I keep an eye out for the identities of those? After I get Boatworks, should I? Okay, but what about the N-Corp duo? On Contempt and Fell Bullet. What's your, should I invest in them next after I get Ishmael? I just need your honest opinion. Oh, Butler Faust. I already have Butler Faust. Knight of Despair Rodion, that's gonna be a while. But I've got best 2 out of... But for the most part, I've got Butler Faust. I managed to get her on a roll when I started. Seriously, the Endcorp duel isn't as strong as people expect them to be? Wait, really? Okay, you're sinking team on negative coin and... That sounds a little counteractive considering that, oh, I don't know, negative coin enemies require tails to actually win. We're probably gonna get Walpurgis after Kanto 9. Okay, I hear ya. Okay, so... Okay, so y'all are suggesting that I get more Boltworks-ish first, then Knight of Despair Rojon when the Walpurgis rolls around. I already have Butler Faust, though I'm not sure if I should level her up yet. Is that all? Okay, Knight of Despair Rodion with Family Eric Wrecker. Okay, I hear ya. Gonna be a while before I can save enough resources for Walpurgis after I don't know, my battle pass is just almost gone. Only thing that's left would be the shard crates. Linton Gregg is just glass. I mean, like, when isn't an identity a glass cannon? Okay, so you're suggesting Knight of Despair Rodion and more Boltworks-ish. Okay, I hear ya, I hear ya. I'll consider it in the future, but for now, I want to try and get enough lunacy so I can secure myself another 10 times. Hold on. It was only natural that the sinners immediately fell into a state of collective, dumbfounded shock. None of the sinners have any history of working at W Corp, but we're actually taking that train. Through what vague information we could gather from the identities, we all had some fragmentary knowledge about the terrible secrets of the warp train's operations. I initially considered hiding this information from the rest of the sinners, but since sharing things with everyone and letting them get their 2 cents and usually ended up being pretty helpful, I've been sharing more of these as of late. Though I have very dim, if present in all, recollections from the time during which I wear the identities, it can be determined from the conversational records between the manager and the identities that the mechanisms behind the warp train's operations can be deemed as somewhat bizarre and inefficient. Oh yeah, it's that 10-second trip that actually takes a long time, right? And when the train reaches the destination, they just wipe the passengers' memories. I also heard that the passengers get so tired and weary that they start literally ripping and tearing into one another. Sounds like I might finally have a chance to see a masterpiece with my own eyes. Oh, Snack says they made a petting gif of Blubbering Toad. Aw, that's... yeah, I did see some Blubbering Toad fan art earlier. He was really cute when he wasn't the size of a car, but he was cute regardless. Even when the sinners wear the identities through my identity cards, the identities, memories, or beliefs don't bleed into them once it's over and done with. I remember when Faust explained that, due to the risks associated with embracing such influences, there was a filtering process to intentionally block them from reaching the sinners. That's why the sinners could use identities of some of our worst enemies without getting infected by their philosophies and whatnot. But it also meant that they couldn't retain any new information that each identity had to offer. That's why I keep a record of some things that sound particularly important and sometimes share it with the rest of the sinners. My voice doesn't really carry well past the window, so most of our communications are one-sided, but I had an abundance of W Corp identities, so it wasn't difficult to piece together the truth behind the trains. But, maybe ignorance really is bliss. Your alarmed response and possible incompliance have already been accounted for. Wait, Faust! Then thou hast known this all along? Wherefore hast thou not deigned to tell me of this? Faust has indeed known this all along, as no knowledge is out of Faust's reach. As expected, a solution to your dilemma has already been prepared. I seriously doubt your situation involves not getting on the train, so what is it? The bus. Oh, what about this bus? There's no way this thing fits inside a train car. Charon vetoes too. No one to feed Mephi when Charon's gone. Miss Faust. The rearmost tail cars of warp trains are all freight cars. That is where Mephistopheles will be safely fastened and transported. And the LCB will have the benefit of boarding as first-class passengers. The bus begins to swell with noise again, though in a slightly different air to the alarm response from earlier. First-class passengers? What? The seats for those pompous toffs? Even on normal trains, you've got those sods whose proudest accomplishment in life is planting their asses in first-class seats, while others are cramming themselves into freight cars because they haven't the cash for even an economy ticket. And hey, don't look at me. I've never been in one of those first-class seats before either. Isn't a ticket for a first-class seat like as expensive as a 3 to 4 month salary of a first-year wing employee? Can our budget really handle getting a ticket for all of us? The company's budget is not a subject that warrants your concern. I heard first-class passengers get some cool bonus stuff like personalized private capsules or something, don't they? That is the promotional language, yes. They are flash-freeze hibernation capsules, to be precise. They have been designed to easily withstand the true amount of time it takes for the warp train to travel from point A to point B. The trip will be over in the blink of an eye for the passengers. The company's regard for our well-being is unfamiliar yet welcome. To be provided such extravagance merely for our comfort. Such an occurrence is quite seldom. Right? I honestly thought they were going to just slip the guide and carry on into the first class seats and ship the rest of us in the economy cars. This seems like an unnecessary luxury. They should have saved their budget and given only the executive manager and their loyal advisor access to those seats. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're taking the warp train to get to our next mission, alright? We have to think about the unique nature of warp trains and prepare ourselves accordingly. Right? I know it's first class and all, but warp trains are just plain creepy. I knew you'd also be worried about, for example, economy passengers are going to have a hard time getting into a first-class car. If they can even attempt to open it, I mean. I'm pretty sure the door separating the cars is ironclad. Ishmael, who'd been holding that first-class promotional pamphlet in her hands for a while, was chattering on with fire in her eyes. We won't even have to lift a finger. We'll just have to board the train, get into our capsules, shut our eyes, and snooze through the entire ride until all that mess in the other cars blows over. I heard they used to give out commemorative merch back when their finances weren't in the gutter and... Oh, a true adventure is not without its hardships, yet even the most exalted of heroes cannot venture without respite. And in very rare occasions, the hero may even deign to select a first-class seat to rest in place of a quaint inn. Indeed, indeed. Seems like everyone was at least somewhat interested in the fabled first-class seats of warp trains. I could sense that there was a growing consensus among the sinners that even a warp train trip might be acceptable if it meant that they could ride in the first-class seats. I will board the train if I must. Is first-class seating mandatory? I prefer the scenic route. Don't want to miss out on all the fun. Virgilius pretended to not hear Ryoshu's question. Very well. Then I assume that we are all in agreement. Let's go. I have a matter of great import to discuss with thee. What is it? Out with it, lass. Beating around the bush ain't like you. Don Quixote carefully began, almost whispering in a low voice. That is, in the first-class seats, I have I have heard tell that we must board with our feet freed from our boots. Doth that claim hold water? Oh, come on now. What kind of nonsense gossip is this coming from this time? There's no gossip! Forsooth, I have overheard aught from those that we have walked past here today, and when one of them inquired, "You know that you gotta go barefoot in first class, right?" The other responded with, "Of course, man. What am I, stupid? Doth the traveler speak true, Ishmael?" Don't ask me. I have never been on one of those either. I don't remember seeing anything like that on the pamphlet. Give me a sec. I mustn't be separated from Rocinante, not even for a twinkle. I should toss Rocinante to the side next to such vulgarities like the ugly shoes of Sir Heathcliff. Oh, you little! I implore thee, O illustrious red gaze, for thee grant me thy permission and allow me to board with Rocinante! I expected Virgilius to answer with his usual exasperated rebuff. Contrary to my expectations, however, he responded in a somewhat serious tone, if tainted by that familiar annoyance. Fine, keep your shoes on. Man, I should really put up noise spoilers here sometimes. Okay, so hold on, let me run the numbers. Give me a sec. 40 per node times 15. That'd be 600. Plus 130. Okay. I get this done, I should have enough for another 1 times. Sorry, another 10 times. Though I am going to have to sacrifice some paid. I am definitely going to have to sacrifice some paid lunacy here, but I can probably buy for if the next battle pass rolls around. Okay. Actually, I think I got your details of me.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예의에 어긋난다고 생각하지 않나?
Yeah, before we begin, let me get... Okay, Z. Yeah, I already got you. You gave me your details in one of our past streams. I went and picked it up while you weren't looking. You're welcome.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예.
Now, if you excuse me. An order and fixer. Right, let's take a look at this. This place is huge. That was my first impression of the warp train station. Oh-ho! So this is... Don Quixote shouted vibrantly, immediately recovered from her previous apprehension of the sheer possibility that she might be separated from Rocinante. So each nest has one of these massive structures in them. I've got nothing. Oi, know anything about what they're asking? Heathcliff asked, gesturing towards Mersault with his chin. Every warp train station has been built with a general design philosophy that draws from their respective nests' architectural idiosyncrasies. It can also be said that many critics in relevant fields praise the warp train stations as one of the many cultural cornerstones of the city. I understand, Hifumi. I tend to have bad memory as well. Oh, God. I assure you, viewer, that those feet pick is necessary for the Forgive me, I choked on something. I have no idea when it happened, but Heathcliff started treating Mersault like a walking encyclopedia from time to time. Mersault, young Mersault! Lo, is that passenger over yonder one from the west? Incorrect. Water-based clothing and metal armor are predominant fashion trends often visible in the outfits of the western population. While that individual's cloth-based style is something ubiquitously observed throughout the population of the north and south, they are largely considered to be an eastern fashion trend, rarely seen among western. Prithee, slow thyself, for I must make a record of thy lectures. What wisdom dost thou have to impart regarding the fashion of the northern region? I have once espied in the magazine that they are garbed in puffy, loose-fitting outfits. Understandably so, given the colder climate of the region. An opportunity for a first-hand observation stands before you. Ah! 3 seconds of screaming do it. One of utter fascination, the other of unmitigated frustration. What the shit? You nearly blew out my eardrums! You're the one to talk. Dude, I've got an audible frequency range expansion implant in my eardrums. Holy shit, man. Now get the hell out of my way. You're blocking the walkway like a ragtag bag of hicks who've never even seen a warp train before. Damn it, I take the train all the way here for an expedition only to lose my target, and now these assholes are trying to blow out my eardrums. Great, just great. I love this. Okay, guys, isn't it obvious that we've never been on a warp train before? And the round trip ticket fee came straight out of my damn pocket! Whoa, watch out, big fella. Someone might get seriously hurt if you keep swinging those forearms around, each holding a weapon to boot. Pretty? Wilt thou stand still for a moment, but... Wilt thou stand still for but a moment to satisfy a few inquiries of mine regarding thy outfit? Oh, yes, stand in absolute stillness for 5 minutes and I... Seriously! The fixer with a particularly impressive set of prosthetic arms spent a few minutes venting several of his numerous grievances at us before storming off to a different platform. Indeed. This this city of sundry odd personalities. I'm pretty sure he was thinking the same thing. I guess there really are a lot of people in the city with full-body prosthetics. That's when Virgilia slowly walked up to our group. Well then, we'll rendezvous at the destination. Huh? Would the illustrious Red Gaze not ride alongside us? What W Corp policy demands that fixers bestowed with a color title must board a train specially prepared for them instead. Ooh, are you like riding the first class plus or something? That's a color fixer for you, I guess. Special treatment from the wings, no matter where he goes. Charon wants to go back to Mephi. Mephi will be lonely. I've told you before, Charon, 3 separate times actually. Each time I bought you one of those candies, that people aren't allowed aboard the freight cars. Then, Miss Faust. Yes? Virgilius, after exchanging a knowing look and a nod with Faust, escorted the particularly peeved Charon away. Dante, let us proceed this way. We followed Faust's guidance to the entrance of our train car. Damn. Whoa. Hey, your colors are starting to come back. Ooh. Oh! Hey, these must be the fabled complimentary food and drink of the first class seats. Heck yeah, of course. Quality stuff like these gotta be included with the insane pricing. The general response to this room was a surprise at the rows upon rows of expensive looking sizable capsules. Flash freeze hibernation, huh? I guess it literally freezes our bodies in the flash. Faust, are these flash freeze hibernation devices safe? Please elaborate on your exact definition of safe. These things are supposed to freeze us solid, right? Can we really come back from something like that? A flash freeze hibernation device will put you in a temporary state of death caused by rapid cellular cryopreservation process. However, the rapidity of the process prevents damage to your cells during the phase change. Therefore, in most cases, this will not cause any issues. Faust is aware that this model has a fully resolved cell membrane breaching issues. Sorry, hold on. Let me say it again. Faust is aware that this model has fully resolved cell membrane breaching issues caused by cryogenic density change or by ice crystal growths of water molecules. I missed about half of what you said, but your point is that it's safe, right? Yes, as far as Faust is aware, even if an issue were to arise during the journey, because everyone will be reverted to their states at the beginning of the train trip upon arrival, there won't be any lasting complications from the said problem. You've got some real talent in dragging out something so simple as, yeah, it's safe, to so many words. Seriously. Indeed, as Faust's talents are not limited to a singular field. Okay, but that still leaves a lot to be worried about, just as I was wondering. However, I realized that there was something odd about the way she phrased that answer. As far as Faust is aware, are you saying that it could be wrong? As a general rule, Faust is not there. However, Faust is also not a divine being. There are certain information in the world that Faust is yet to have access to. Therefore, while Faust may speak the facts, what is said may not always align with the truth. Okay. Oh wait. Okay, hold on. So, Snacks, you're saying you saw Brick on build a house. You saw Brick. I used the guy on top of me to build a house. A brick. Oh. I will be in your walls if you... shenanigans. Ooh-ha! 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 Prepare thyself, Rocinante! Thus begins the long jaunt! Oh, I've been meaning to ask Don Quixote. Do you ever, wash those shoes? Where'd that come from, Roja? No, I mean, think back to when we were inside that whale. When that whale blew up, we got all kinds of its gross, slimy bits on us. They were on our clothes, our shoes, everything. Yeah, and do you remember how much we had to scrub to get that bloody, fishy, fleshy gunk out of our clothes? This really isn't something I want to revisit, but yeah. Okay, Brick, to answer your question, I've got best 2 out of 3. I've got Faust's ID, I've got Faust's ego, I've got Gregor's ego, and I have Ishmael's ego. So yeah. Right? And do you also remember how Don Quixote never took her shoes off once during that whole ordeal? Okay, I guess they do look a bit filthy. I asked thee, dear compatriots, hast thou ever witnessed an errant knight who leaves the side of their beloved steed? Can't say I've ever witnessed a knight before, though. Then thou shalt know, starting now. Behold to it, hearken to it, and remember it well. They don't spare us even a moment of quiet, do they? Whoa, have you ever been on one of these, Otis? I have been treated to premium VIP seats of similar grandiosity back when. This is nothing to fuss over. Otis, who was sitting there and shaking her legs, suddenly asked Faust a question. Hey, you're confident that no accidents ever occurred on one of these first-class cars, yes? In order to prevent cases of unnecessary anxiety and misgivings among the sinners, the history of accidents that has occurred aboard warp trains will not be shared. Get the femboy. Oh, come on. I don't even have enough for Hong Lu yet. Give me a break, snack. Wait, what the? Oh, I think we're leaving soon. This is for warp train PW6-612 bound for P Corp. Boarding period is ending soon. The sinners who were either leisurely enjoying their complimentary snacks or taking a look around the first-class car suddenly became a lot busier. Then, let us hurry and enter our capsules before it is too late. Oh no, why isn't this? The other sinners made it into their capsules with no problem, but I felt like I was the only one who's fumbling. Is it anxiety, Dante? I think so. Initiating warp in 10 minutes. Allow me to assist you. Stand as though you are leaning back, and Faust expertly guided me into the capsule as though she'd done something like this before. Then press the button inside the capsule that closed the hatch. Oh, you're kid. No! 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 Oh, wait, if you finish... Wait, hold on. Let me look at this correctly. If you finish Condo 7, you can do the railway and you will get 30 points. I have never noticed that. I have never been told that before. That's the refraction... I'm sorry. That's what the refraction railway does? Serious? Alright, I hear what you're saying. But first, I gotta point something out. Dawn's doing the Dark Souls. Dawn's doing Praise the Sun! I know that emote. I haven't played Dark Souls, but I am familiar with this one. Okay. Okay, now you're just spoiling me, man. But seriously, guys, can we please stop talking for a second? Notice how Dawn's doing Praise the Sun from Dark Souls. Can we please direct our attention to this? Because I'm just realizing it. Anyways, do you mean, no? Yeah, she'd probably be good friends with Solaire. She's pretty... Like, jeez. Anyways, Faust expertly guided me into the capsule as though she'd done something like this before, then pressed the button inside the capsule that closed the hatch. Do not worry too much. We will meet again in but a moment, Dante. I thought I heard a brief sigh, but the hatch shut tightly before I could ask her anything. Initiating warp. Please confirm that your seatbelts are firmly fastened. The last thing I saw before my capsule began to fill with gas was Faust climbing into her own capsule opposite of mine. I had no idea then what she really meant by we will meet again in but a moment. Dante, you must wake up. Dante, but one thing I knew for sure was an inconceivable situation has occurred. I read inconceivable for but a moment, then I get flashbacks to the Princess Bride. Do not get me started on Vizzini and how he says inconceivable. Man, that's something that's seriously gone wrong. Disappearing passengers. Inconceivable! We're here already? Wow, I guess that wasn't an exaggeration at all. It all really happened in the blink of an eye. As always, Faust was giving me her usual look, which was a complete lack of any emotive expression. Which I suppose is why it didn't immediately register that something had gone awry. No, we are not yet at our destination. Huh? When I finally came to, and after I had some time to digest that odd reply, I looked up at her face once again, and realized that her expression was more antsy than usual by a microscopically minuscule degree. So, this train is still running? Yes, then where are we? I believe we are currently stranded in an unidentified dimension. Coordinates? Unknown. I took a reflexive deep breath from the sheer horror of the numerous implications stuffed into that dryly delivered sentence. When that passed, the first thing that struck my mind was that we were about to suffer the very thing that we were so worried about. I see, but I soon found myself calming down. Yeah, this had to be a part of Faust's plan. She probably saw this coming from a mile away. I'm sure she's about to proudly tell me every little detail of her plan that will help us out of this situation. But this is all part of the plan. This is all just a part of the plan, right, Faust? That was an unusually long silence from Faust. You are half correct, yet half incorrect. With that, Faust left me to flounder in the chaotic stream of vaguely terrifying information as she began stopping by each capsule to wake the sinners. Ooh, we're here already? Man, it really happened in the blink of an eye. No. Oh, what's this? We're here already? For real? It really happened in the blink of an eye. No. Whoa, we're here already? I guess I was really worrying over nothing. No. Oh, no. Yet I have not uttered a single word. Exam is making... Oh my... Hey, rice cooker. Sorry about the exam, man. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back, man. But seriously, the train of no's. I should probably point that out. Like... There was a brief cheer, a little hurrah about regaining our colors, followed by a flat-toned explanation of our current predicament, which was then followed by a long-loaded silence, which was a sequence of events I had the pleasure of watching play out on about 10 consecutive occasions. Dante, I understand your confusion. However, perhaps an elaboration of our present circumstance is necessary. And that brings us to the present. Let me get this right. This train's still running, and we're drifting through some unknown dimension. Who about that struck at me as quite dramatic. Most importantly, are you saying that you already knew that this would happen, Faust? Yes. What the hell is wrong with you, huh? The sinners each begin to voice their anger. Of course, this wasn't the first time Faust and Virgilius intentionally and knowingly omitted certain details about events in our past. What, are you insane? It's not like we can just retreat or jump out that door when stuff hits the fan! Opening that door will result in nearly immediate destruction of the physical body. But hey, at least you know what to do like you always do. You've got a plan, right? Right? Faust, whom I had rarely ever seen at a loss for words, was unusually slow to respond. What's up with her? Lass looks totally out of it today. You know, when you mention hungry, I forgot to mention that not only am I hungry, you're also indirectly referencing Kingdom Come's Deliverance, Henry, of Skalitz, whose war cry, if I recall, very explicitly recall, was that I'm hungry. I'm not kidding. Hold on. Let me pull it up for you. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Alright, hold on. Let me pull up the Reddit for a sec. Give me a second. Just so you know, I wanted to get that out of the way because y'all are saying hungry so goddamn much. It reminds me of the fact that I'm a little hungry, even after dinner. And then there's this. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, where the hell were we? Okay, hold on. Wait, what's with big back? Anyways, getting that out of the way. Oh, rice cook. Oh, I should probably mention that I'm also that I also like to eat. I am a genuine fan of Japanese food, but I am nothing past some pasta like spaghetti or carbonara. I also love salmon. Noodle soup, yeah, I'm good with it. Ramen is definitely a favorite. Curry? Oh yeah. See, y'all can stop talking about food. Absolute gluttony resonance. Okay. Anyway, getting that out of the way. Back to it. Hate quit. What's up with her? Lass looks totally out of it today. Okay, Snack, if you're asking about my favorite drink, iced tea. Lemon iced tea. Snack, come on. Let the man speak. I mostly like lemon iced tea. Lavender lemonade. That's a curious that sounds a little curious, don't you think? Like lavender and lemonade? I mean, I haven't heard of that one before. You're saying it's pretty good, huh? Pretty good, huh? My friend got lost absolute resonance when seeing Faust. I'm scared. Honestly, who doesn't like a woman in a turtleneck? I like well-dressed women, but mostly, if you want a generalization, try tactical gear. I love women in tactical gear. But anyways, back to this. She gives me a sideways glance. There must be something she can't discuss in front of the sinners. Guys, let's pause for a bit. She said that something inconceivable has happened. The other sinner's anger was completely understandable. It also makes sense that this continued lack of communication was harming our trust in Faust. Alright, we're going to go over the situation from the start, okay? But just letting things play out might really turn everyone against Faust, and for good. Besides, I doubt Faust woke us up in the middle of the trip just to spite us. First things first, I gotta get the sinners to calm down. Then I'll ask Faust to tell us what happened. If there's a problem, we'll figure it out and deal with it as we move along. Tell us what's going on, Faust, all of it, and in a way that we can all understand. Let's hear her out first. Is that okay with you guys? If you say so, I'll go along with it. Fine. I suppose losing my rag rarely ever did anything. Thank you. Then, after some time, the gist of Faust's explanation was as follows. The cause of this issue has always involved a certain contract and a unilateral decision from the higher-ups of Limbus Company. W Corp got wind of the Limbus Company's recent distortion contract management promotions and decided to contract us to deal with a mysterious repeated series of incidents suspected to have been caused by a distortion. After multiple failed attempts to resolve it on their own, of course, the distortions themselves likely did not pose a problem for W Corp. Based on the available information, it can be determined that they would have all been neutralized as soon as the train arrived, and any transformed passengers would have been reverted to their human forms. But the real issue was that the passengers were disappearing. Passengers spirited away? Alas, such is an impossibility aboard these trains, is it not? That is a question for which we must discover the precise cause and effect of. Did W Corp share anything to get us started? That appears to be the most prominent cause of this misunderstanding. She explained that W Corp refused to share anything about the trains because they were concerned about maintaining the secrets of their singularity. Maybe that's exactly why they sought out an upstart business like Limbus Company to deal with this, now that I think about it. We wouldn't even know where to start if we didn't have the access to the information that the identity cards had to offer. Faust produced what appeared to be a keycard with a W Corp logo on it before continuing with her explanations. However, we were given this master keycard that can open and close the hibernation capsules at will. We may return to our respective capsules as soon as the contract is fulfilled and safely complete the rest of the journey as we had planned from the beginning. These bloody wings, every single one of them has been absolutely barmy. I think it's a bit unkind of them to ask us to finish the puzzle without all the important pieces. At least at T-Corp, their chief executive director tagged along as our assistant. Not to mention kindly explaining so many new things to us. It sounds like Miss Faust was stuck between a rock and a hard place herself. Some sinners grew more receptive after explanations, albeit with a sigh. I would have appreciated it if you gave us a hint. If you at least gave us a hint. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it's not like there's someone out there monitoring your every move and every word, right? That is... but not everyone was willing to let this go without saying their piece. Really, Rice Cooker? Your pills... Wait, you're telling me you misplaced your pills? Do you remember where you last were? Like, where you last left them or something? Look, just work on backtracking for now. I gotta focus on this. Anyways, next time I will take your inputs into account. And that's everything I can do for her. It's an undeniable truth that Faust is disappointed the sinners with what she's done. But she is Faust after all. I'm sure she has backup plans to get us out of this situation. So what's next on our agenda? Yeah, what's done is done, right? Besides, it's not like we gotta rot away for thousands of years inside this metal box. I don't know what to tell you, Rotia. That is something I must first discuss with Dante. But discussing things with other people is very unlike Faust. What are we discussing, Faust? We must converse in a lower volume, Dante. Well, why are we whispering? Our secretive attitude only exacerbated my already battered sense of safety. My connection to Giselle's shaft, I mean Faust, has been severed. I'm sorry, what? I cannot access Faust's knowledge at the moment. I guess I was really right to be anxious.
군주가 나선다. 흑수.
의로움을 세우기 위해서라면
걸맞는 곳이어야 할 것.
명령하실 때까지 자리에서 대기하겠습니다.
지정 보호 구역의 소요 사태 확인. 일이다. 오늘은 시간을 얼마나 뜯으려? 돌격쯤 완료.
Hey, we unlocked backup. Oh wait, I gotta double check. Do I still retain the bonuses if my sinners aren't backup? I gotta ask. Yes, Rice Cooker, I have had Capital Mersault since last stream. I shorted him, and then I ended up getting him in the gacha twice. Unintentionally, mind you, twice. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so I don't get the bonuses. Alright. That clears up a lot of things. So, yeah, I can keep the bonuses if I have them on backup. Did I get that right? I don't have to actively use them in the team. Did I get that right? Sorry, Snack. Sorry, Rice. I just so happened... Yeah, Hafumi, I wasn't expecting it either. Actually, I think I got him thrice, by my count. Once in the seasonal deck. The other two times, just extractions. Yeah, I ended up getting Capital Soul 3 times. 3! Once in Deca, and the other 2 in the event banner somehow. 3 times! It's okay, it's just that I'm contemplating how fucking off my luck was. My goddamn luck, mind you. How off it was that I could have gotten Capo Salt later on! I just want to get that out of the way. I could have considering the possibility that I could have gotten Capo Salt a little later on. Oh dang, I'm sorry, what? Hold on, wait, let me get that straight. Afumi, you're telling me you got all 4 collaborating Ego in their 100 rolls. Meanwhile, I'm sitting with over... I want to get this out of the way, Afumi. I have 134 extractions, and I have yet to get Hongwoo. He's the only Ego that I need to get. And the reason I'm planning to do this entire thing is so I can get something out of this. I need that Ego, and I'm gonna do anything for it. Now, to get this out of the way, can I still get the bonus if I have the Sinner in reserve? That's all I ask. Because I am looking at 120% bonus. And I want to be sure if I'm getting something out of it. Can I still get the bonus if they're in reserve? In backup. Okay, cool. Thank you, Persona. Thank you.
목표 위치로 돌격 중.
I'd say let's get started. Yeah, but I'm not willing to pay again. That's gonna be for a while. How about we start running co-op candle? My brother in Christ, I already spent my tickets. Yeah, I already spent my event currency on the tickets. I already got them all. At this point, it's just lunacy. Anyways, what do you mean you can't? I mean it in the most literal sense. My access to Faust's input and information, which has always been readily available, is completely severed. Oh, what if everything about the situation is something you don't have access to yet, like you said last time? One cannot completely dismiss that possibility, but even that is uncertain. Every answer Faust has given me was always full of confidence and methodical expertise. I don't think she's ever said a sentence that was this full of speculation and doubt. Then Faust, you are... Yes, at this moment I am limited to operating only with my knowledge. I cannot discern the cause of this disconnection. More than enough precautions have likely been taken in case of interdimensional travel, but perhaps Faust did not take into account on an occasion in which we may have to access an identified dimension such as this. Or even if it was taken into account, this particular dimension may not yet have been subject to cross-observation. If that is not the case, then no, never mind. There was nothing that suggested my connection to Faust will be lost, not even as we boarded the train. To be honest, this is a rather disagreeable situation for me. Alright, for now. Now that changes everything. I recalled the last thing we saw before the hatch on the capsule closed, when Faust told me not to worry too much. Okay, this is just a minor setback. Nothing we can't beat, right? We got this. I began to mutter like I was trying to convince myself. As the manager, my job is to calm everyone down and set their sights on the future. Just as Faust did for me immediately before the hatch closed. If you're right about why you were disconnected, then that problem will solve itself once we're off the train. And if we do ever run out of options, I'll just turn the clock and see what happens. Don't stress yourself too much. We still have a lot to work with. You acknowledge my clock, the sinner's end. I can feel my confidence taking hit with every word that came out of my metaphorical mouth, but that seemed to be enough for Faust. She nodded. Understood. And to the sinners, the fact that we are currently confined to a warp train in operation must be a source of enough stress. I believe that sharing Faust's current state with them would add an unnecessary source of tension. What, so wrecking this door ain't gonna do anything? We're all going to bite it once it opens. How many times do I have to tell you that you're not even strong enough to break this door down? A billion years in this box? Yeah, good idea. So, what now? Do we have to take a searching sweep around each car or something? In the grand scheme of things, yes. Faust cleared the air with a cough before continuing. By A-Corp standard time scale, approximately 3 days have passed since our departure. As per the contract between Limbus Company and W-Corp, I acquired the master keycard, placed inside my capsule, and adjusted the hatch settings to open automatically in 3 days. 3 days, huh? I feel like I just blinked, and I guess that's hibernation for you. As you were all informed prior to boarding, there's no way for the economy class passengers to enter the first class car. That is why this place has remained untouched. However, cross-referencing my own deductions and W-Corp's rather fragmentary explanations, I can assume that the situation is currently under progress in the economy class cars. The part where they thrash the shite out of one another, tearing their limbs off, all that mess. No, I doubt that. I don't think it gets that bad in just 3 days. Besides, that's supposed to be business as usual for W-Corp, right? There must be something else that's out of the ordinary that they want us to deal with. Precisely, in my opinion, that it is... Oh, that thought for about a moment! Just as Faust was about to continue, Don Quixote raised her index finger to her lips and signaled her to be quiet. Dost thou hear aught as I do? Scratching, nay, rapping, or sooth, past this gate it must be, As Don Quixote kept listening with her ear to the door, an odd expression of half curiosity and half horror appeared on her face. It is possible that there must be... Lady Faust? After that very distressful noise, everyone simultaneously turned their heads to look at Faust, who closed her eyes briefly in thought. Please step aside for a moment, Don Quixote. It would be best if I observed it with my own eyes. With that, she produced the master key card from her pocket and approached the panel installed next to the door. Whoa, hang on for a minute. You're going to open the door? I intend to follow your usual flavor of suggestion, Heathcliff, that there are times in which a physical altercation is preferable to detached ruminations. Huh? But my suggestion? Well, I ain't going to disagree with you there, but what's gotten into you, lass? After all, how could I deduce anything without seeing it myself? After a brief mechanical beep... Yeah! Hideous creature suddenly crashed through the open door and charged wildly in our direction.
주분께서 너희에게 거는 기대가 크더군. 최선을 다해라.
주군께서는 사소한 실수로 책 잡지 아니하시니
Okay, this
너무 긴장하지 말고 임하게.
목을 떨궈주마. 전탄격발.
Hey, first tremor!
차프장이다. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 좋구나.
속에서
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
시비수에 분명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 누구 하나
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えました。味方が優勢です。今こそ
Oh,
勝機をつ
come
かむ
the
時です。
불가 위약 막아내지 못하니
말로 바랍니다. 저 해주들을 도려내는 놈.
トクターのように優れた武器ですね
푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
効果的な攻撃でした
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라. 그렇게 서 있으면 목이 떨어질 수밖에.
Lady Faust, however similar in appearance they may have been to the passengers. Verily, this as though they were in completely want of sense, like people poetified by the whale. Don Quixote hesitated until the last second to raise her weapon against them. She hung her head mournfully. Normally, Faust would have told her more information about these notes monsters before the fight began, and she would not have been burdened by the sheer thought of bringing the harm to the innocent. Faust began searching the area, closely observing the various bodies and the general area for information. You appear particularly inquisitive today, Miss Faust. Yeah. Aren't you usually the one who has all the answers while we're racking our brains trying to come up with something? The sinners were starting to feel that there's something off about Faust's behavior. They may even soon realize that there's something wrong with Faust. Don Quixote. They are not dead. Huh? Observe closer. The parts are all tethered to one another by something, are they not? Oh! It appears that the flow of time has ceased in this place. Therefore, it follows that the connections that tether bodies to life and away from death remain intact. To my relief, Faust managed to correctly figure out what's going on in like her usual self, even if it took her slightly longer than it usually does. Hey, what'd I say? We got this! Huh? What was that about? Oh, nothing. But I'd forgotten that all the sinners were content with nodding along to whatever information Faust told us. The flow of time has ceased aboard the war train, is it? Isang grew pensive. Seeing that, Faust's lips parted for a moment before closing shut. I was starting to get a good read of her expressions. That was an unmistakable look of regret, however short-lived. Albeit, would it not be more accurate to muse that the flow of time has accelerated to the point where, to an extra-dimensional observer, it is so to a stop? What is your perspective regarding this suggestion? Yes, that is a most rational suggestion, Isang. Did Miss Faust just get something wrong? Wow, Isang sure is a time expert, right? Can you summarize it in an easier language now that we're talking about it anyway? Gladly, if you would allow me. Isang began to elaborate with gentle enthusiasm. That was close. To speak in brevity, it can be said that death is not an element aboard this train. And can you maybe speak it... sorry? And can you maybe speak it in a little less brevity? To elaborate... Fairly, this one's heart beats still. Don Quixote lowers her head and listens closely to what happened to what appeared to be a dismembered torso and shouts with relief. Their state is akin to an unassembled jigsaw puzzle, merely immobilized and separated. Though their corpus has been sundered, the concept of death is at a state of, for all intents and purposes, the eternal delay aboard this train. Existence and continuance of moratorium. Forced they are to be tethered upon the thinnest yet tenacious thread of life. I understood what had been said here, yet they are not dead all the same, If their several parts are all connected, then it can be said that no matter how entangled their bodies become, it is not impossible to eventually gather their parts together to form a single passenger. Thus, naturally, we can determine how and why the profession W Corp cleanup agent has come to be. I see. Because someone will have to categorize and reconstruct these puzzles once the journey is over. It's really baffling to me that a job like that even exists. Ever seen a Wayne that wasn't baffling in every sense of that word? Still, I guess that means that as long as the train arrives at the station, they will all be put back together like nothing happened. From what I learned through the W Corp identities, their main job was to gather chunks of flesh together to bring them back to their original shapes before they boarded the trains. It's a lot more visceral when I have to look at it in person. Phew. That is quite the auspicious news among ill tidings indeed. It soon clicked in me what Faust was, though with some awkward effort, trying to do as I watched Don Quixote sigh with relief. Maybe Faust is trying to cheer up Don Quixote in her own way. The other Faust would not find it even necessary to do something like that. Dante, what's up? Oh, time to whisper, right? Indeed, I intend to collect further intelligence. Well, if there's anything I can tell you... Faust cast a dark gaze toward the chunks of flesh. Her gaze remained fixed upon him as she whispered, "Are they distortions or abnormalities?" Oh, yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that. They weren't humans, that's for sure. From them, I felt the same sensation I felt from monsters. Something inexplicable, an unclear sensation or an aura. I've felt this somewhere before, I'm sure of it, but I couldn't quite pinpoint the source of this sensation. One thing I do know for sure is that this sensation was not the same feeling I got from abnormalities, distortions, or even the Pecatula. If I had to lean one way or the other, I'd say they're closer to distortions. So, I'm sorry, I don't think they're either of those. Is it difficult to be certain at the moment? Again, I'm not sure how I can explain this, but they're very similar to distortions, but also different. If you had to ask, then I'm gonna guess Faust doesn't know. Faust may know, but I, at this moment, have no way of knowing. I feel like I should apologize for that. There was no need, Dante. Though the information you have provided to me is rather ambiguous, it has helped me deduce there's something of worth. And collecting intelligence myself and creating deductions based on sparse information is quite... She paused, holding a bloody, slimy chunk of flesh in her hands. Did she just smile to herself with gore in her hands? Ooh, finally, the awakening has begun.
또 한 줄 길을 남겼군. 핏물진 길일 뿐이지만 세월이 지나면 홍호는 그제야 알게 되겠지.
Jesus Christ, I'm out of breath just from the start.
무얼 바꾸었지를.
Give me a moment. Multi-crack office, okay. After a round of intelligence gathering from Faust, we opened the door to the next cabin only to be greeted by a loud commotion. It sounds like there are other survivors. Passengers in danger! Worry not, for I have arrived at— Yeah! Whoa! Don't come any closer! Who the hell are you guys? A four-armed woman suddenly jumped in our path. She appeared without warning. Faust stumbled a little, inevitably slapped by the figure's swinging arms as she pushed us away. Right. You gave me any warning before you practically kicked that door open. Would you mind moving that huge sword out of our faces? It's a bit threatening. I'm just trying to protect those civilians in this car. Also, is that a bioprosthetic? Must be an old timer, huh? I thought those things went out of style forever ago. Oh, you want to see what this old timer's got left in him? Aha! Thou art from the north, verily. Thy garb is that of northerners, no? This really ain't the time, lass! Anyways, it looks like we're in the same mess here. Make way for us, yeah? She seemed to be sizing us up for a moment. Nah, how do I trust you? Got any proof that you ain't bitten? I'm not gonna let I'm not gonna let all my effort protecting this place go to waste. Bitten? What the bloody hell are you talking about? Weird, you look completely lost. If you were in one of the economy cars, I'm sure you've seen... Hold on. Are you all from the first class car? Yeah, we just woke up from our capsules. But none of you look very... aren't first class supposed to be... Oh, well, why didn't you say that from the Why didn't you say so from the get-go? Name's Sasha, multi-crack office rep. With that, she lowered her weapons and allowed us to pass. Have you not left this car for the duration of the ride, Sasha? Huh? No, I haven't. We warped over to T-Corp after picking up one of their contracts, but jeez. Can you believe that this train broke down? Shit, is it even broken? I'm not feeling hungry or sleeping at all. It stinks of some shady bullshit if you ask me. You can feel all that, even a prosthetic body? Man, how can I live without my favorite hobby, drifting into a sweet nap after a pleasant meal? So I made sure to get high quality parts for him so I can still feel hungry and sleepy. Hasn't something else of note also occurred? You bet your ass did something else of note go down. How distracting. Is it hard for you to speak without being so hyper? Or at least stop swinging your arms around like that? Can't do that, friend. I broke all my prosthetic arms in a fight, so I'm calibrating a new set. Gotta keep swinging them if I want them to sync up with the other parts anytime soon. Anywho, I don't know what the hell's going on, but people started turning into some weird monsters all of a sudden. I haven't got a goddamn clue as to who they are. Don't seem like they can understand us either. Good thing my train car didn't have a lot of those monsters. I just chopped what monsters there were to pieces and hauled the civilians to this vacant car. 3,200 red colors, 3,202 red, 3,202 red colors. You have decided to protect them despite the potential risk they might transform as well. But of course, this expected duty of any Valorant fixer to stand guard in the front lines against evil to protect the weak. I've been keeping a close eye on them for the last 3 days, and so far, 0 transformations. Go past this car and you see what hell on earth really means. Those monsters are constantly trying to claw their way to the front of the train. So if you ask me, I'd wager that some shit went down there one of the train cars in the back, and it spread like wildfire until it reached here. I see. And that's all I can tell you about the situation. So, what's your story? Why'd you rich first-class folks suddenly decide to grace us peasants with your presence? Nothing that's happened here could have made it to your swanky first-class car, so what's your business down here? W Corp has hired us to solve this case. We are, fixers! Indeed, fixers. Faust nodded reluctantly as she affirmed Don Quixote's boisterous declaration. Huh, they got every single one of you a first-class ticket? Your office must be rolling in the dough. Wait a goddamn second, so W Corp already knew that this was gonna happen? But, are you really contracted to a wing? Not sure if I trust you. As you must be well aware yourself, contracts and contract fulfillment are of paramount importance of fixers. With that in mind, please recall that W Corp is one of the most secretive wings of this city. A non-disclosure agreement, huh? Makes sense. I wouldn't want to deal with those Olfie boys either. Anyways, I'm gonna have to ask for proof that you're actually contracted by W Corp. This is the master key card given to us by W Corp. I believe that it can open most doors aboard this train. Faust produced a master key card from her pocket. I guess there isn't any other way for us to prove that we're actually contracted by W Corp. Key cards, so you use this to open the path between the first class and the economy class car. Let's see, W Corp logo. Whoa, nice materials. Looks like you're telling the truth. Alright, I won't pry. Not like there's any cash in it for me either. So, I guess you gotta go all the way down there for your job, huh? Yes. The fixer finally got out of our way. Then, with one of her free hands, she pointed toward the opposite door. Well, I guess it's your funeral, ladies and gents, or your victory lap if you guys are really that good. Lots of luck to y'all. I thank thee for thy words, fixer. I thank thee for thy words of courage, fixer Sasha. I shall trust thee with the protection of this fortress. Protect the innocent in my stead. Big sis, are you a fixer? Are you going to save us from the monsters in the cars behind us? Huh? Just as we were about to reach the other end of the car, a little passenger pulled on Don Quixote's coattails. I forsooth. Whoa, are you a famous fixer? Forsooth once again. Thou mayest know me as a profoundly illustrious fixer. Whoa, I want to be a fixer too, just like you. Don't pester the lady. I'm sorry, she's my daughter and... Worry not thyself, 'tis no bother. No bother at all. Thou must dream of becoming a fixer with thyself, little squire. It is fortunate that someone like yourself is aboard this train. Your presence ensured that child's survival. What you talking about all of a sudden? Come on, no need to keep up appearances between people in the same line of work. I'm just here to collect some sweet emergency contract fees from each and every one of you. Are you 2 on something or what? I see. I don't think Don Quixote needs to hear what she just said. Didn't know you could be like that, Faust. Be like, what? You knew that there was no other way. The fixer was actually there to protect them out of pure goodwill, but you decided to go along with Don Quixote's delusions anyway. Am I right? Good move. I was getting worried about what might happen if she started acting out again. You saw the twinkle in her eyes too, right? Don Quixote's always been energetic, but she's been especially bouncy today. Eyes. Faust strode towards Stasha with a question. I have one last thing to inquire. It'll be 30k on per inquiry. That is an unsound decision to make for someone who claims to be in the same line of work as us. Have you considered the possibility that once our contract is successfully completed, we can include references to particularly a cooperative associate office in our report to W Corp? Whoa, you serious? Oh, then let me hear it. Were the eyes of the monsters you faced red by any chance? Oh. Oh, I think I'm starting to know. From a fucking distance, you fucking weasel. I don't know if Snack's a he or a she. Just I kind of don't mind it. Give me a second, I gotta rest my vocal cords. Anyways, back to it. Sasha paused her swinging arms for a moment upon hearing that question, appearing to either be in thought or trying to recall something, then answered. I don't know. Those monsters were red all over, but is there something special about their eye color? Well, for one, my prosthetic eye is red. That passenger over there's got red eyes, and oh, you there. That lady with a big sword also got red eyes. What, is someone out there paying cash for info on red eyes or something? No, well, it was a question of no significance. Faust nodded lightly in her direction, then opened the door to the next car. Ugh. It was just as we had feared. The scene that appeared before us looked like it came straight out of a painting of hell. Painting of hell.
현 시간부로 근무 시작.
주분께서 너희에게 거는 기대가 크더군. 최선을 다해라.
주군께서는 사소한 실수로 책 잡지 아니하시니 너무 긴장하지 말고 임하게.
목을 내놓고 있도록. 직접 발견.
뛰어난 병사라도 적재적소에 쓰지 않으면 무위무능한 법. 우선 전황부터 살피지.
형국 정도는 읽었다. 나머지는
불가 위
하루 스킬을 날리다.
막아내지 못하.
목을 떨궈주마.
하령, 추진! 각자의 위치가 있어. 피차 동정은 필요 없다.
敵に対して大きな
고작
打
이
撃を
정도
与えます
탕류의 허덕이나 말로 받아내라. 저 해충들을 도려내. 물 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라. 모여 길을 열어라.
차포잡이라. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좁고 옳다. 숨겨둔 수를 드러낸 모양이구나.
목을 내놓고 있도록
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨지는 자
풍속에서
보내지 마라.
이것밖에 못한
피차 동정은 필요 없겠죠.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나. 또 한 줄 길을 남겼구나. 핏물진 길일 뿐이지만 세월이 지나면
만곡된 직선을 직선으로 질주하겠소.
敵が来ます。皆さん戦闘の準備を。
목을 내놓고 있도록
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에서 말로 받아내라. 저 해충들을 도려내라.
물 넘고 거꾸로 제쳐라.
오여 길을 열어라.
진짜 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
차고 잡아라. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
물 넘고 거꾸로 제쳐라.
적의 팔다리를 끊었군. 이제 전력으로 쳐라.
목을 내놓고 있도록
敵に対して大きな打撃を与え
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
화력 추진.
た効果的な攻撃でした。エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です。
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
실수일지 의도일지
저희를 헤아릴 수 없다면 그 용도를 고민하는 것이 상책이지.
받아볼 텐가.
침묵을 떨궈주마.
이제 깨우치시겠다.
옳다.
敵は深手を負っています。
틈을 이제 깨우치시겠.
ドクターのように優れた式ですね。
하나 넘고 물 넘고 거꾸로 제쳐라.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
토끼를 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이.
저 해충들을 도려내라.
틈을 이제 깨우치시겠.
묘여.
길을 열어라.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
전탄격발
Phew. Battling in a narrow hallway really takes a lot out of you. Too bad. Making big movements when there's not a lot of room to move around in takes more energy than you might think. especially for people like us who use longer weapons. These enemies weren't much harder than the ones we'd fought earlier, but it was inevitable that their sheer number would eventually wear down the sinners. What are these things, Faust? Yeah, I've been wondering that too. Why are you all so tight-lipped all of a sudden? Those entities are... What do you think those entities are? Huh? Didn't I just ask you the same question? Oh no, are you giving us a chance to come up with our own answers first? Of course, Faust did not confirm nor deny his question, but Sinclair was perfectly capable of interpreting her silence in his own fashion. There were some things I learned about after fighting them, I think. These monsters aren't mad at us, nor do they want to attack us because we're an obstacle. That's not why they're attacking us. Quite. Tis apparent that they hunger for aught, charging at anyone and anything in a desperate quest for it. Right, that's strange though. I thought hunger or thirst wasn't a thing aboard these trains. It could be determined from the entities' attack patterns that their offensives were not based on rational thought. The source of this behavior can only be traced back to their primal aggressiveness. Yes, and was there anything else? Oh yeah, I think they all had red eyes. Their bodies were wreathed in blankets of red. I smelled blood, so that's likely what they're made of. Then it must be the red that was congealed in a crystallized blood. Thank you all. Your input has been very helpful. It was my turn to start whispering. What did you learn from that? Learn what, Dante? I have read upon this subject as a tangent while perusing information regarding our next destination moments before we boarded the train. And while that will be a useful element in resolving the situation, the sinners have also been a very good source of intelligence when it came to categorizing and identifying important evidence from the available sea of information. Your advice was correct, Dante. You mean you know what to do to blow this case wide open? Nothing can be said with absolute certainty at the moment. However, this will be a good place for us to start. With that, Faust turned around and faced the rest of the sinners. I will now present before you a solution to this predicament. Huh? Is there something else we gotta do other than beating the crap out of whatever's in our way? That will not change, no. However, what I'm about to share will give you a better understanding of the purpose behind W Corp's contract and provide us with a possible means of finding the method by which we may complete it. It is very likely that the entity behind the incidents on this train, and by extension every incident of the same nature that has occurred in previous warp train trips, is a blood fiend. Okay, now we're getting to serious territory. Blood fiends, yeah.
또 한 줄에 길을 남겼군. 핏물진 길일 뿐이지만
목표 위치로 돌격 중.
Wait, a blood fiend? What's a blood fiend? Blood fiend? What in the name of the wings is that? Huh, you of all people haven't heard of blood fiends? Thought you were our team expert on obscure lore. Apparently, I have not heard once mention of these blood fiends. Perhaps I have left a magazine article slipped from my memory? Don Quixote furrowed her brows, genuinely lost. It was as though the very word sounded alien to her. Don Quixote furrowed her brows, genuinely lost. It was as though the very words sounded alien to her. I thought they were just the monsters in stories to scare children at night. They're supposed to be afraid of garlic and sunlight, right? Ooh, that sounds a bit different from what I've heard. I heard their fear of garlic and sunlight is just a rumor, and what they're really afraid of is water. I have been briefed on the existence of blood fiends in the past when I served as a commanding officer, and I have seen the dregs that they command. Though my memory isn't very clear, I am quite certain that these monsters here do not resemble what I've seen. I've seen one who called themselves a blood fiend among the ranks of the fingers. But the things that blood fiend commanded weren't like these rubber textured ones. There's something off about this one. That one didn't spawn these dregs with abandon just like this. But aren't you supposed to know this already? Yes, I see that some sinners have encountered blood fiends in the past. A long-winded explanation seems unnecessary. As many of you have stated thus far, the entities we've faced in this train do not appear to be blood fiends. In a sense, they are dreg-like beings that have failed to become kindreds. They are referred to as bloodbags among relevant parties, according to information that I am aware of. Not a terrible name. Why would anyone name someone blood bags. As it has been said prior, it is impossible for passengers to disappear aboard warp trains without under normal circumstances. Though our reserve intelligence regarding warp trains or W Corp is vast if incomplete, we could not find a possible exception to the above rule. Within that reserve intelligence, however, I have discovered that inserting a previous unseen variable into the equation allows for the formulation of a new hypothesis. Wait, you're saying that these blood fiends can completely erase people or passengers from existence? A more accurate descriptor would be to say that they are either dissolved or vaporized. Dissolved. No matter the degree of violence that passengers may indulge in, no matter how severe their wounds may be, the warp trains can revert them to their initial states at the beginning of the journey. Among several interpretations of the word violence involves cannibalization, of course. Ugh. However, as the passenger's collective time itself is in the mortarium for the duration of the train's operation, digestion is not a biological process that should be active. In other words, even the devoured passengers could be reconstructed. If they are merely stuffed into the digestive tract, then I suppose they could gut the passengers to retrieve the chewed up chunks of other passengers and piece them back together via the vein-like things connecting each individual. However, such is not true for blood bags. Blood bags are, by their nature, obsessed with blood. Their existence hinges on supplying themselves with the blood of their victims, and it is said that they must consume a minuscule amount of blood to maintain their forms. Wait, what? Didn't you just say that digestion's not a thing while we're on the train? If I were to continue my deductions, perhaps consumption of blood for blood fiends and blood bags is a fundamentally different process from our consumption of their nutrients for energy. To them, blood is a culmination and entailment of something that forms itself, including but not limited to emotions, ambitions, will, purposes of existence. Then it must naturally follow that they can spend their blood at will, which is a process isolated from the other biological processes such as digestion. Well, I ain't even following half that. To exist in moratoria of time at the present moment, Heathcliff. Yet your emotions still persist, do they not? Anger, sorrow, and joy, they continue to spark within you. Well, I suppose they are. Though we cannot tell whether they may be in a state of alteration or whether they remain enamored, ensnared in the wheel of creation and destruction, it is said that emotions, once passed, can exist not in continuation. The passenger's will to live. Oh my god, give me a moment, I gotta rest my throat. Okay, I'm a little tired. Alright. The passengers will to live, the word of this very existence in which they thrive, do they not all generally atrophy into non-existence even amidst the sea's time? Miss Faust seeks to illustrate the similarity between how emotions are to ourselves and how blood is to blood fiends. I'm okay at the moment, Brick, just a little tired. I was hoping I'd get this through in a single stream, but the amount of yapping here is making my throat a little dry. I'm starting to feel a little tired, sorry. Gotcha, so that's why she said that their blood is vaporized, huh? If that's the case, then the very blood that's supposed to bind these chunks of flesh together will also evaporate, which means that they can't be pieced back together. There's no incongruence in that logic. Everyone fell silent for a moment. That was way too much information to process at once. We didn't even know what to make of them either. I would like to ask a few questions if you would permit me. Yi Song was the first to break the silence. Could it be said that the blood bags are correct creations of blood fiends? If such is the case, then by which method do they... That information is inaccessible at the moment. Faust replies, avoiding Yi Sung's gaze. There isn't anything I can do about this. The sinners will only get more stressed if they find out what's going on with Faust, and that's something we both want to avoid. Inaccessible, indeed. Now I recall what you have said in the past. This is only speculation, however. I assure that a form of direct physical contact is needed to turn an individual into a blood bag. If such were not the case, then we, who are likely the greatest obstacles to this entity's goal at the moment, would have been the first ones to be turned. Indeed. In that case, that villain of a blood fiend must be hiding out somewhere aboard this train. Indeed, if we are to believe the words of the fixer from earlier, then there is a high likelihood that the horde is advancing in this direction from the back of the train. In other words, continuing down the train cars will lead us straight to the blood fiend. Very well, I shan't forsake this opportunity to bring peace to the souls of the innocent passengers who have perished by the villain's hands. Dante, it seemed that Don Quixote was now invigorated. The other sinners seemed satisfied now that we had a clearer sight of our goal. Faust, who stood among them, nodded in my direction. Well then, let's go. We're making the best of what's available to us at the moment. Let's move forward for now.
Limbus カンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて本当に嬉しいです。
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리.
말로 받았다. 저 해충들을 도려내.
물 넘고
꺾고 제쳐라. 오여. 길을 열어라. 화력 추진.
So you're saying you want to say something, but you will wait until I'm finished,
大きな打撃を与えます。
so you don't want to spoil that. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
敵は深手を負っています。
받아볼 텐가.
첩보자. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
그렇게 서 있으면 목이 떨어질 수밖에.
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
Okay, so you're saying it's about the boss. I hear ya, I hear ya.
갇혀 죽어라.
옳다.
囚人の皆さんの状態に
Hey, Russian. Yeah, I think you might be a bit late as well. I don't feel too good.
받아볼 텐가.
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨지는 자 누구 하나 살려보내지 마라.
직접 가르쳐주마.
向こうにも事情があるのでしょう。ですが私たちは止まれません。
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
하나 넘고 물 넘고. 하나 넘고 물 넘고.
꺾고 제쳐라.
効果的な攻撃でした。
그렇게 서 있으면 목이 떨어질 수밖에.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
敵は深手を負っています。
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
틈을 끊어.
전탄격발.
ドクターのように優れた式ですね。
이것밖에 못하나?
판도는 유리하나 교만하면 뒤집어지는 법.
그래서 어쩌라는 거지?
경계. 그걸 꼭 말로 해야 하나?
일기당천.
깨치시게.
바람 불어오는 대로. 바람 불어오는 대로. 짓밟아라. 마침내 굴레 하나를 끊었소. 두려움 없이 나아갈 수 있는 아씨가 그리던 홍원이 한 걸음 더 가까워진 것이오. 그러니 언젠가 재회할 날 꼭 내게도 은자를 풀어주시오. 내 그것만을 바라고 온몸에 피를 묻혀가며 쉼없이 달리고 있으니
이번 지휘도 부탁드립니다.
뛰어난 병사라도 적재적소에 쓰지 않는
얻어볼 텐가.
무위무능한 법. 우선 전원부터
이 앞에
살피지.
숨쉬는
경력 정도는 일
누구
같다.
하나 살려보내지 마라.
나머지는 칼을 휘두를 일 아닌가.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
ドクターのように優れた式ですね。
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라.
이것밖에 못하나?
목을 떨궈주마.
囚人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
받아볼 텐가?
모험하고
틈이 생겼군. 내올 건가?
이용하는 것이 상책이겠지만
두분이라면 메웠을 거다.
그래. 부상자를 챙기지.
일기당천.
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えました。
마음 놓고 열어젖히고
이것밖에 못하나?
このまま行けば敵を食い止められます。
목을 내놓고 있도록.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라. 물 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라. 고작 이 정도 탕미의 허덕이나.
한번 잠들어.
エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です。
일기당천.
Okay, sorry for the hold up. I need to rest my eyes a bit. I don't think I'll be able to finish the stream today in time.
화력 추진.
사포잡이라. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
전탄격발.
効果的な攻撃でした。敵は深手を負っています。
명령에 따르겠습니다.
마음 놓고 열어젖히고 바람 불어오는데요. 빨 봐라.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나. 피차 동정은 필요 없겠죠?
총알값 아까울 놈은 아니군.
Alright, I'll take your suggestions. Let me get through this. Let me get through this cutscene. Manager Esquire, halt! Behold this poor fellow. He lives still. Don Quixote, her round eyes wide open, began sprinting somewhere. No, stay away from me, you monsters! Hey, man, we're not those monsters. You alright? Huh? That arm. You're starting to mutate too, aren't you? You must be turning into some bug-like monster. Ah! What? No, this is... Gregor stumbled for words before chuckling and casting his gaze toward the floor in disbelief. Well, no surprise there, I guess. I suppose there's no way to tell right away whether this arm's a monster or prosthetic or whatnot. It is possible that you are mistaken due to its prior prosthetic being that of an older, outdated make that is now rarely seen in the city. Ah, prosthetic. That's a relief. I thought those crazy bastards were trying to break in again. As you can see, my legs are messed up. I had no choice but to hide in here. So what are W Corp employees doing aboard this train? You're right. From what we found out about warp trains through the identities, I can't imagine any of them would ever willingly board this train. You're the contract fixers, right? We were ordered to assist you with your contract. I said we, but I'm the only one left. Every single one of my colleagues suddenly began losing their minds in that car over there, and this cannot be. Faust! Is there truly no way to cure the blood bags? My apologies. The access to that information is prohibited at this moment as well. Though her voice and expression were both as serene as always, there was something gloomy about the way she said it. I may have been too reliant on Faust in too many places. Faust muttered in a barely audible volume. I don't know what I can do to help the sinners in a situation like this either. I'd also grown too used to Faust's omniscience because I could always trust it to be there for me. I was starting to realize that I don't have the means to dig myself out of a hole like this. No, maybe I was too reliant on the sinners as a whole. If, when the time comes for them to depend on me when they can no longer stand on their own, can I really manage them? Lead them to the right answers. Doubt colored with fear begins to rise like an ominous plume of smoke. Well, what can I do, right? The agent stumbled to some corner of the room with his wounded leg and pulled on a lever. They made good use of this space, and the wall behind what had initially appeared to be a folding chair for employees spun open. Ooh. What in the name of the wings is this? Perchance thou hast hidden here a weapon most powerful? A weapon most feared by the blood fiends? That holds some resemblance to a capsule we saw in the first-class car. But why would that thing be here? The cleanup agent stumbled into the pod that appeared in the wall. Phew, finally. What is that? What is it that thou seekest to do? W Corp prepared a small hibernation pod for employees in case of these emergencies. Really, then, huh? Good luck with the rest of the mission. With that, he settled into the capsule and shut the hatch behind him. The door covering the pod closed. Only the folding chair and a wall covered with viscera remained. He's gone. Here he goes. He has departed the scene. We blankly stared at the wall the agent disappeared into. Well, then I guess we gotta... Let's move on to the next car. Keep on keeping on.
나를 들뜨게 만드는 일은 많지 않지만 이번엔 그 귀중한 경우의 수에 들어맞았군. 잘 놀다 간다. 회수하지 않은 탄피는 팁이다.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I think we're almost at the end. Just a little longer now.
사냥감인가?
We're close. I'm sure of it.
주분께서 너희에게 거는 기대가 크더군. 최선을 다해라.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
주군께서는 사소한 실수로 책 잡지 아니하시니 너무 긴장하지 말고 임하게. 틈을 끊어.
전탄격발.
ドクターのように優れた式ですね。
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
効果的な攻撃でした。
목을 떨궈주마.
God damn it, infected W
囚
Corp.
人の皆さんの状態に何か変化が。
목을 내놓고 있도록.
말로 받아내라.
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えました。
물 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라. 오야. 길을 열어. 진짜 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
방 속에서
このまま行けば敵を食い止められます。
명령에 따르겠습니다. 시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨어있자. 누구나 살려보내.
Wait, what do you mean free Deca ticket tomorrow? Whoa, wait. Persona, what do you mean free Deca ticket tomorrow? I thought it was just 300 lunacy.
옳다.
떨궈주마. 피자 동정은 필요 없겠죠.
타코작이라.
이
예상한
정도
것보다
넌
움직임이 더
푸름을
좋구나.
틔울 수도 없구나.
직접
The daily login.
무쳐 잠들어.
これが必要な戦いであれば。
일기당천.
Wait, the daily login. Hold on, let me double. I gotta double check. Give me a minute. I'm gonna double check. Wait, Deca ticket 10 times. Basically, it's a 10 times ticket.
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나. 하려 추진. 피자 동정은 필요 없겠죠.
敵は深手を負っています。
불가 위압 막아내지 못할.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라. 물 넘고 토끼를 보내라. 저 해충들을 도려내라.
틈을 끊어 이제 깨우치시길.
묘여. 길을 열어. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
오늘 부끄럽지 않았습니다.
의를 바로 세우는 데 일조하였으니 내일은 더 떳떳이 살아갈 수 있겠군요.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that for a sec. A Deca extraction ticket, huh? I forgot though. I forgot we still had
야밤의
those.
나를 찾는 것은 예의에 어긋난다고 생각하지 않나? 나와 시선을 맞출 정도의 위치라 하더라도 그렇군. 야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예의에 어긋난다고 생각하지 않나? 나와 시선을 맞출 정도의 위치라 하더라도 그렇군. 당신이라면 이 늦은 시각에도 응당 모시는 것이 예의에 맞을 것이다. 결례를 사과하지.
If you're asking about Heathcliff Hayshow, I'm thinking maybe probably he may, since the common theming is basically dog, or rather wolf, I'm thinking he'll probably be, but he's also been using dull hands, so I'm thinking he might either probably be correlated with, he may either be correlated with with the Wu branch, or maybe the bull, or maybe the bull branch. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Dragon, though Tiger seems to be a little out of his depth. Wait, you're really thinking he might deserve Tiger? I don't know. I've been looking up information on the Hay Show. Tiger's the best of the best. I wouldn't put Heathcliff that high. Snack. Believe me when I say I don't feel like giving up yet. We've come this far. We just need a few more. We just need to keep going. Just keep pushing. We're close. I can feel it.
움직이는 먹인 자. 재밌겠군.
Let's do this.
주분께서 너희에게 거는 기대가 크더군. 최선을 다해라.
주군께서는 사소한 실수로 책잡지 아니하시니 너무 긴장하지 말고 임하게.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
옳다.
Okay, this is starting to get a little more.
전탄격발.
Hey, this is starting to get a little concerning. The level of power these guys have.
실수일지 의도일지.
저희를 헤아릴 수 없다면 그 용도를 고민하는 것이 상책이지.
일기당천.
틈을 끊어.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제철.
効果的な攻撃でした。
뒤져 밝혀주마.
向こうにも事情があるのでしょう。ですが私たちは止まれません。
목을 내놓고 있도록.
시비스럽게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자 누구 하나 살려보내지 마라.
그렇게 서 있으면
마음으로 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
これが必要な戦いであれば
받아볼 텐가.
하려 추진. 각자의 위치가 있으니
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えました
친히 목을 떨궈 주마.
これが必要な戦いであれば
명령에 따르겠습니다.
차포잡이라.
Full.
예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고.
So wait, there's not just W Corp in here, but I'm pretty sure these are Sasha's co-workers. What the hell?
그렇게 서 있으면 떨어질 수밖에. 총알값 아까울 놈.
Alright, let's step it up.
틈이 생겼군. 메울 건가?
이용하는 것이 상책이겠지만
주군이라면 메웠을 거다.
그래. 부상자를 챙기지.
Alright.
받아볼 텐가.
아득한 여정. 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
Alright, take it away, wait, Salt!
전력으로 상대하마. 그렇게 서 있으면 목이 떨어져.
피차 동정은 필요 없겠어.
속에서
エリートオペレーター並みの腕前です
이제 깨우치시길.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라.
오늘 부끄럽지 않았습니다. 의를 바로 세우는 데 일조하였으니 내일은 더 떳떳이 살아갈 수 있겠군요.
It's like Sasha's cold workers, multi-crack, motherfuck. Keep calm. Calm. Just maintain
필두, 출진.
regulation. Calm down. Just calm
敵
down.
の調子が悪くなっているみたいです
받아볼 텐가.
화력, 추진. 각자의 위치가 있어.
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えました。
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
効果的な攻撃でした。
실수일지 의도일지
저희를 헤아릴 수 없다면 그 용도를 고민하는 것이 상책이지. 불가 이하
시비수에게 나왔다.
막아내지 못하리.
이 앞에 숨쉬는 자.
하나 넘어 둘 넘고 꺾고 제철.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
큰 흐름을 뒤집은 건 아니나
달릴 시간이다.
좋은 움직임이로구나. 불가 위야
저
막아내지 못하리.
밝긴다. 돌아하니여.
말로 받아내라.
To answer your question, Brick, it's either I'm gonna be fighting my sanity or I'm going to be fighting this boss. Because I've been used to late night affairs. This will be no different.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수도
I just felt a little lightheaded earlier, that's all.
목을 떨고 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이다. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
I think I'll be fine with what I've got.
차포잡이라 예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
전탄격발.
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이나.
敵は深手を負っています。
받아볼 텐가.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제철.
이제 깨우치시게.
저 밝긴다. 돌아하니여.
토끼를 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이다. 저 해충들을 도려내라.
틈을 끊어 이제 깨우치시게.
묘여. 길을 열어라. 탄원 보급해드리겠습니다. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
sorry. It is only on rare occasions that they urgently request the assistance of less significant, lesser-known corporations such as our own Limbus company. Their choice appears to be quite irregular. Sounds like W Corp's heydays are long behind them. Just like this wall that's falling apart, revealing what's behind. Oh, speaking of falling apart, this room sure got messed up, huh? It was difficult for me to ignore how Roja hurriedly swerved to a different subject as though she'd made a mistake. Even the tone of her voice shifted like she was catching herself. To answer your question, Snack, their voices are unmuted. It's Intervallo, so maybe something else? It was difficult for me to ignore how Roja hurriedly swerved to a different subject as though she'd made a mistake. Even the tone of her voice shifted like she was catching herself. The various destroyed prosthetic parts covered in human remains indicate that this train car was boarded by several prosthetic-equipped fixers. I can't think about that right now. Let's see what the task at hand first. Maybe these people are from the same office as that guy we met at the platform. Remember? He said he warped over to T-Corp on an expedition. Look, it's almost like they're all wearing standardized sets of prosthetics. Same make, same model, everything. I believe I have read articles stating that certain offices do exclusively hire fixers with prosthetics. Wait, we were walking through the bloody train car when we suddenly heard Sinclair's voice crack as though he saw something awful. Fee! He's the one we encountered at the platform! This is the fixer who suddenly started venting at us. Yeah, and he said he said something about going to T-Corp on an expedition and failing. They brought a whole train car full of fixers for this contract? I guess he wasn't exaggerating by calling it an expedition. There are over a dozen broken arms strewn about. They must have fought valiantly by replacing their broken arms with backup arms, perchance. Quite the strategy. Makes sense. That would explain all those broken prosthetic arms and legs in this car. Executive Manager, this is likely an aftermath of a battle between the fixers and the bloodbaths. There were many similar cases during the war. Those using prosthetics would simply let their bodies be destroyed in battle because they considered them to be disposable as long as their wallets would permit. Of course, the blatant lack of self-preservation often led them to early graves. Maybe that's true. I see. There are multiple possible interpretations depending on one's perspective, despite the fact that there is but a single scene. I will remember both of your inputs. That's a good attitude. Employees with an attitude like yours often made it to the end of the war. Yes, well, good for them. Faust answers Otis in an uncharacteristically snappy manner. Signs of fatigue were creeping into her pensive expression. You all right, Faust? It was rare to see any actual expression from her, but I was starting to get worried. I am physically unharmed, yet, yes, I am alright. However, I do not enjoy the circumstance which we find ourselves in. It is as though I am casting out nets to nowhere while lost and isolated in a blind sea. I could usually complete these deductions within moments after establishing a few basic cross-references between the accessible information. Her voice was such a whisper for the second part of her sentence that I could barely hear what she was saying. I know what you mean. Feeling like you're completely lost, obsessively casting net after net over the black rippleless lake in desperate hopes that one of them may pull something we could eat. No way to tell where we are. No way to tell if there's even anything to eat under that glassy water surface. Grasping at the straws, you know? This sense I find mired in is not unlike your own. It is like lying on my back over an unseen grave, for the reflection of radiance upon my eyes and the sanguine scent hanging from the tip of my olfactory tells me not of the forging path. It seemed that Ishmael and Isang picked up on the first part of her sentence, however. They walked up to her and shared a few words of consolation. By the way, I don't ever recall you talking like that, Faust. I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's something different about you today somehow. That is, I don't hate it. I'm actually glad to learn you had a softer side. This unseen side of yours. It is unfamiliar yet quite fresh. Is that so? Faust's reply was curt. She closed her eyes. As per the information provided by the pamphlet at the platform, it is likely that this train is composed of 12 passenger cars and one freight car. Because we are on the 11th car at the moment, that leaves a single car between us and the freight car in which Mephistopheles is secured. Which means that there is a high likelihood that we will soon encounter the blood fiend responsible for the creation of the blood bags aboard this train. Just beyond that door, well, how impressive could it be if its fodders are if its spotters are this weak, would practically smash through their entire horde no problem. A different, more accurate interpretation would be to say that a being capable of commanding a force as large as the blood bags we have defeated should be considered a high-risk entity. Although this is not common knowledge, there is a subcategory of fixers called blood fiend hunters who specialize in, yes, hunting blood fiends. Assuming that information is true, it can be inferred that the blood fiends are difficult foes that require a certain expertise to defeat. Now that I'm thinking about it, if blood bags are like mindless thralls to blood fiends, then they're kind of like their private army, right? A being of power who can create a force of their own without concern for lowered morale or desertion. Wartime or not, they will always make for formidable foes. The sinners each exchange various opinions with one another, possible strategies, estimations of the blood fiend's strength. And all of a sudden, fie on these indecisive idleness! Our quest is to defeat the villain who had brought such pain and misery upon this train, is it not? It may be vaporizing the lifeblood of the innocent as we speak. Mighty or feeble, I care not! I swear upon mine honor that I shall smite this foe and let my hand of justice be the judge of their fate! Let us hasten now! Don Quixote's sudden outburst immediately put a stop to the chatter. She's not wrong. Besides, we have to deal with the blood fiend to complete our contract. With that, I open the door leading to the final car of this train. A little woozy, but I'm okay for now.
또 한 줄 길을 남겼군.
Okay, end of the car. The one who wars.
세월이 지나면 홍호는 그제야 알게 되겠지. 이 홍로가 무엇?
움직이는 먹인 자. 재밌겠군.
This room. What is with that look on thy faces? Lord, that is the villain, the blood fiend. That villain is the blood fiend responsible for the tragedies that have transpired aboard this train. Help us sway that cur, and eventually lead the passenger still has protected thus far out of this train. Blood fiends. What if there was more than a single blood fiend on board, one still capable of rational thought? Damn, you actually made it all the way back here? I guess the wings don't give out contracts to just anyone. I used to fight to my damnness too, till I was the last one standing. What's she talking about? But where did that leave me? In the end, I stood alone with nothing but a single one of these forearms left. Kinda funny how the perspective on life can just completely flip when you're ready. Really into shit. I think my last thoughts were, man, I don't want to die. So I fell on my knees and pleaded. I told him that. Don Quixote, watch out! I'd do anything to live. Blood rapidly crystallized around Sasha like a suit of armor as she swung her greatsword at the sinners, striking them even before Faust finished her sentence. Ah! What did I say? I commanded you to give me a warning before jumping in like that. Don't you know how loud your stupid arms are? I thought the family had come for me. Sorry, Lord Cassetti. Oh, fuck. She looks terrible. Lost one arm. Blood crystallized around the remaining 3. Are those veins? Yeah, sorry, I should probably give my voice a break, but I can't stop. Allow me to introduce my kindred to thee, to be the first of many since my escape, for the kingdom I intend to build. My kindred, my loyal squire, who shall be at my side as I build a dynasty of my own, my family. Lord Cassetti, I had intended to select the more powerful of the bunches sent to this car, as you have commanded me, but the humans in my car were all weaklings, so I present before you this group from the first-class car. Kindred, are you even aware of the exact nature of a kindred? Nah, but I can tell you this. When I actually accepted my Lord's blood into my veins, it was as though I was reborn. I see. The Blood Fiend's kindred is like a sub-entity of the Blood Fiend, similar in concept to the sub-entities created by distortions or abnormalities. It must have been desperation that drove you to accept that proposition without hesitation, despite the lack of relevant information. Maybe that's probably what was going through my head before I became a kindred. Daos has been in cohorts with its villain all this time, as its lackey. Even there then, when we first laid up our eyes upon thee, lady, you have no idea how much I freaked out when one of you asked me something about red eyes. Not that it would have mattered if you did suspect me though, since my red eye is just a prosthetic. But then, the passengers were under thy protection. Haven't I told you that the count matters? The longer the line, the better. Shh. Dozens of blood bags began shambling into the room, one from behind Sasha. A smaller one among them stood out to me. My mind immediately snapped to the child who grabbed Don Quixote's coattails. Fuck! No! 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 Even the children. Even the children too. Why am I not surprised? I knew that the passengers were dead the moment we realized Sasha was a blood fiend, but this... I really hoped that I wouldn't have to face this reality. Not like this. God. There was a child. Yeah. Little Ron wanted to be a fixer if she got to grow up. Good thing she won't, though. I can tell you on good authority that living as a blood bag is way better than the drudgery that is the life of a fixer. Believe me, I know. Hold thy vile tongue. Dreaming of becoming a famous, respected fixer and an actor of justice. It's all just a stupid pipe dream that always ends in crushing disappointment or a really early grave. Sasha, you should really shut your mouth again in front of Dawn. You know we're not gonna stand for this. Especially since you decided to get children involved. You're not getting out of this car alive, Sasha. You are not going to leave this car alive. Silence! Silence! Don Quixote did not give Sasha time to finish her sentence. She was already charging full speed at her with her lance drawn. Sasha ain't leaving this car alive. I think we've made that painfully obvious.
우선 전황부터 살피지.
형국 정도는 읽었다. 나머지는 칼을 휘두를 일 아닌가.
개의치 않고 말씀을.
Let's get to work.
일기당천.
시리수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자
직접 발견.
보내지 마라.
We are going to see this to the end, Snack. I have seen to it. Now or never, people. Now or never. If you're asking about the time brick, we are about to hit hour 3. This was longer than I expected.
목을 내놓고 있도록.
바람 불어오는 대로 짓밟아라.
내 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
So, yeah, business as usual.
넌 푸름을 틔울 수 각자의 위치가 있으니
敵は深手を負っています。
Sasha, you fucking traitor. You dirty little bitch. Alright, let's... Just need a setup. One large setup.
받아볼 텐가.
저 해충들을 도려내.
다소.
Come on, more salt! Hold on! Help's on the way.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라. 물론
총알까 떠올려.
아직 따로 쓸 곳이 있다.
주라니야.
しっかりしてください。
달릴 시간이다.
받아볼 텐가.
Flash, Tiger, Clash with Sasha's good. Yeah, way ahead of you on that one.
진짜 밝긴다. 돌아하니여.
The sinking shall do the job.
화력 추진. 적을 물어뜯고 너의 쓸모를 보여라.
감히 붕대로 감아둘게.
God damn it, the damage was too much. Gonna have to come up with a backup plan.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
Sasha got to him. Right, got her in stagger. Yep. I think we're just about done here.
옳다.
これが必要な戦いであれば
이제 깨우치시게.
Unbelievable. My first kindred to be created without their authorization is this bumbling fool. I pray for your forgiveness, my parent. Be gone from my sight. At least thou hast brought me blood bags for sustenance. Yet it must be the responsibility of a parent to clean up the mess of his child. What a load of shit. With that, Cassetti reached out toward the pile of blood bags on the ground and... oh, what abundance! I had nearly forgotten this sensation! An armor of hardened blood materialized over the bloodfiend's body. His sheer aggression and hatred was palpable enough to make our skin crawl. It appears that he has empowered himself by reaping their blood. Though my power is yet to fully return, this magnificent armor is quite befitting of a parade for the prince who had become a king! Wouldn't you agree? Yes, sir, you do. Of course you do. Challenge me now, O rebels. Challenge thy king!
숨겨둔 수를 드러낸 모양이구나.
Let's do this. Let's get started.
좋아, 간다.
Alright, arm the ego.
敵が来ます皆さん戦闘の準備を
Need more.
명령에
Need more.
따르겠습니다.
I need more scabbards. Russian, I need more scabbards before I can actually properly use it. If I use it at 10, it'll be 1 coin.
Limbus カンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて本当に嬉しいです
This will be good. Hit him for all he's got. 2 scabbards, not enough. I need a proper primer.
불가 위야. 막아내지 못하리.
토끼를 본다. 저 해충들을 도려내라.
This boss got a free heal, by the way, so I would recommend using a support here just in case you don't get the EX objective.
길을 열어라.
I think, judging by our odds, we might come out of this okay. Hypothetically speaking. Okay, I think now's a good time to hit him for all he's got. Yeah, this should be a perfect time. Okay.
뛰어난 병사라도
That's scary.
적재 적소에 쓰지 않는 무위무능한 법. 우선 전황부터 살피지.
형국 정도는 읽었다. 나머지는 칼을 휘두를 일 아닌가.
Turn 11. Okay, hit her with... Oh yeah, I forgot. I have Tidal Elegy. Pair this with Body Sack. Hit with Command Meltdown for heal. Yeah, I think we're covered. Yeah, we should be covered for this one.
아득한 여정. 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
Next up, Body Sack.
모두가 너를 잊어도 반드시 되찾을 거다.
Come on. Ishmael, take it away!
한눈 팔지 마세요. 메말은 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
Gregor!
이 검은, 이 명예는, 이 영광은 이빨이지.
Oh, that was anticlimactic.
주분께서 너희에게 거는 기대가 크더군. 최선을 다해라.
주군께서는 사소한 실수로 책 잡지 아니하시니 너무 긴장하지 말고 임하게.
Okay, need more gloom.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
Okay, to answer your question, Russian Black, I got lucky with getting Faust's ego first, and then it evolved to getting Gregor's, and then I just did Mirror Dungeon until I got Scotty Ishmael. The only thing I don't have is Hong Lu's, so yeah, there's that. Oh, and just so you know, I have maybe 130 to 160 polls. Yeah, no, I got 130 polls on the event banner. Just so you know.
나만의 항해 방식.
위세는 좋으나 의도가 뻔히 보이는구나. 하책이다.
당신은 금물이다, 자공.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
Oh yeah, you can pity purchase one of them. Ooh, got him on stagger! Get away-ish.
한눈 팔지 마세요. 메말은 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
Okay, I think we got him. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts! Yes, of your boiling human blood, but this is too painful! This guy keeps regenerating, no matter how many times we tear him to pieces. I don't know if we can... The mental fatigue finally got to Gregor and Sinclair, who collapsed to the ground. The strange environment of warp trains was proving to be a significant help to the Blood Fiend's regenerative ability. The battle continued much longer than our scuffles at K-Corp border checkpoint. Or our struggle against the endless hordes of the dead at the basement of Wuthering Heights. The sinners had all grown much stronger since then, but they were reaching a breaking point. Don Quixote continues to wildly pummel the Blood Fiend with her lance, breaking, stabbing, and crushing him every time a body part regenerated. I am so hungry. Ridiculous. Thy hunger is no justification for the massacre thou hast wrought. Shut up. You don't understand. You don't understand how awful it is to surviving for 200 years in a disgusting, horrible... No! I don't even want to think about it. Shut up. Good. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be good. Please. Just let me have a sip. Just a sip, please. No matter how many times you stab me. Shan't stop. Till all of thy flesh and bone and organs are crushed into a viscous, shapeless mush, never to become whole again! But Blood Fiend's regeneration is so powerful that he's recovering as fast as Don Quixote is destroying him. He's regenerating at an insane rate. We can't. My kindred, my child! Given that you, I've invited thee to this banquet, so do thy responsibilities. The blessings of a parent must be repaid. No! What can I do? Why don't we just break the rancor? Them kneel and grovel before me in desperation, just as you had. Wait, I think I've got an idea. Sasha began looking around wildly, surprised by Cassetti's sudden command. It's that way they fight. Reminds me a lot of the way they fight. Reminds me a lot of the way we prosthetic using fixers fight. Just as prosthetic fixers solely use their sense of self-preservation. Their limbs becoming no more important than the tools to be replaced. These idiots act with such abandon as if they have multiple lives to burn through. With nothing to protect, they throw themselves wildly into battle like moths to a flame. And forget to look after what's really important, like this little thing. With one of her remaining arms, Sasha picked up the master card key Faust showed her in one of the previous cards. Don Quixote, stop her now! Oh, my parent, I offer this gift to you! Don Quixote immediately lifted the fixer, but one of her arms struck her away with great force. Ishmael and Mersault, who had been holding Cassetti down, were no match for his strength without Don Quixote's fury. The Blood Fiend threw them both to the side and grabbed the key card. This is the key to the first-class cards, my lord. This grow your army of blood bags to bring glory to the kingdom. No. Cassetti examines the master key card with clear interest. Without that key card, we'll be trapped inside this train for thousands of years until it reaches its destination. Dante, I believe that I have tried my utmost to overcome this adversity. Without access to Faust's knowledge and intelligence. However, with our loss of the master key card, the uncertainty of this circumstance has greatly exacerbated. Crap! This is just great. They just don't know when to give up. At the origin of this plight, Faust took a deep breath as if she was about to take a deep dive into the source of all this trouble. It must be my over-reliance on Faust. From what I can tell, Faust has always been operating based on information she received from Faust. So a situation like this, where she has to make decisions on her own, has to be unfamiliar to her. But Faust is an admirable sinner with or without Faust. I've been thinking that same thing about myself, actually, that I've been relying too much on that perfect Faust. But even without Faust, you still gave us a good direction to follow after analyzing the information we brought you. Maybe uncertainty itself doesn't always have to be a problem for us. Remember, thus the lack of plan itself becomes the plan. You said it yourself. I see. Indeed, among many, I am a Faust that believes in uncertainty. Our loss of the Master Keycard is but one of innumerable uncertain variables in the equation. The constant is, however, that the Blood Fiend is just as desperate as we are. Thus, the only option that remains at present is to compromise. You there. Looks like thou art the one who's been regenerating your friends. Stop doing that, alright? Don't heal a single one of them, or I'll smash your precious key to pieces! Manager Esquire! Compromise with a villain as vile as that cur! I didn't have the time to regenerate Don Quixote's severe injuries just yet. The rest of the sinners were already unconscious. The only sinner who could still move and talk normally was Faust, whom I just rewound the clock for. Yeah, let's do that. Very well then. Cassetti, why don't we move this conversation to a different location? Only I will accompany Dante to this negotiation. I will make my intentions clear now. Dante and I will not attack you there. There is no doubt in my mind that Cassetti must be completely exhausted by the unending barrage of attacks from Don Quixote and the sinners. Faust's suggestion that we move this conversation to a different place without the sinners must have been a sweet one. Just you two, huh? Yes. The freight car is immediately adjacent to this one. That is where we will further discuss what we each have to offer to one another. That clock must be thy monarch, then, and thou art one of the retainers. Correct. Very well. This will be a royal debate, then. It is only right that a royalty talks to no one else but the one who is his equal. Manager Esquire! We'll be back in a minute, Don Quixote. And thus we left the incapacitated sinners and Don Quixote, who watched on with hollow, despondent eyes as we walked away. We carefully made our way into the freight car. So Faust, why are we doing this in the freight car again? Dante, this will be my first attempt at a gamble. What? With that, the door closed shut behind us. Sorry, I smelled sausage earlier. Yeah, I was planning to cook some pancit if possible.
부끄럽지 않았습니다. 의의를 바로 세우는 데 일조하였으니 내일은 더 떳떳이 살아갈 수 있겠군요.
Alright, near the end. Negotiation. So this passageway leads straight into Mephistopheles? This is where it all started. This stupid bust awoke me from my slumber. If only this bus hadn't completely filled up the freight car. I wasn't planning to start the parade so soon. Create a kindred here. Dante, the connection has been restored. Connection? The suddenness of her statement briefly knocked me off my train of thought. I looked at her and cocked my head in confusion, and she replied with an even quieter whisper without looking away from the blood fiend. Boarding Mephistopheles has re-established my connection to Faust. Did you know that this would work? No, and as I have stated before, this was a pure, incalculable gamble, based on my own uncertain hypothesis. Its success helps me somewhat comprehend Miss Rose's fascination with gambling. A faint smile appeared on Faust's lips for a moment before fading away. Now that the connection has been re-established, I would like to make a complaint against the Faust Syndicate Cell Shaft management regarding the fact that they neglected to list the information pertaining to the loss of connection within the interiors of the warp trains. However, finding a solution to this situation takes precedence. I have much reason to believe that their omission was done on purpose, but I hope such is not the case. Faust gently advanced toward the blood fiend. Let us discuss the details of our compromise. What are you willing to accept in return for the Master Key Card? If thou wert just anyone, I would have wished to turn thee all into bloodbaths and drink every last drop of thy blood. But thou art unlike a common person. My wish is to maintain the secrecy of this kingdom of mine for as long as possible. And thine wish is to leave this place, right? Once I relinquish to thee this key card, once thou returnest to your first-class seats, we'll live here happily ever after like nothing happened. And when this train gets there, you get off the train. Everything goes back to the way they're supposed to be. How's that for a deal? Like nothing happened. Faust, what about the job we were contracted to do in the first place? Our memories and any signs of battle will be entirely erased upon our arrival. We will have no way to relay our news, whether one of success or failure. If we had the means to defeat him, then at least W Corp would have informed us that our contract was successful after the fact. However, this current scenario will leave us with nothing to show for, not even the smallest hint, and the contract will end in failure. However, what takes precedence over the contract is you and the sinner's psychological stability. It's not like we've always been successful, so that was something I could live with, but what about the other passengers of this train, and its future passengers? I remember the look on Don Quixote's face whenever we would come across these inevitable forms of injustice. Faust does not reply. Yet the lack of a reply was a reply on its own. Are we going to have to let them die? Innocent lives will be lost, but we cannot prioritize the lives over our safety. That must be Faust's and the company's policy. Yet I should allow this to Don Quixote. I thought her wounds were too severe for her to even crawl, let alone walk, but with sheer will, she pushed herself through the pain to reach the freight car. I will not tolerate this. We cannot let this vile wretch live and turn a blind eye to everything he's done. It's her again! What? You want to stay here for what is essentially an eternity when this train? I know the truth. Everything hinges on this key, doesn't it? As soon as I break this in half, you'll have to spend the eons inside this. I cannot. I would welcome the eons. Should it mean penance for thee? Should it mean eons of penance for thee? It's much preferable to letting thy villainy go unanswered. Let this place be the site of thine eternal judgment. Faust and I grabbed Don Quixote. She'd normally be strong enough to wriggle free of our grips, but she already pushed herself beyond the limits merely by walking here. Faust, unhand me! Thou mustn't let him live, Manager Esquire! Don Quixote, letting him destroy the key means that you will be condemning the sinners to thousands of years of torment. Then I shall fill the millennia with the tales of legend I have read in the magazines. No time, however infinite, shall be too great to overcome should we endeavor as one. Certainly, you are aware of that your suggestion is no solution at all, Don Quixote. Then there has to be another way. No! Thou art both possessors of great wisdom, Faust, Manager Esquire. Is there truly no path in which we may bring justice to the villain and the sinners remain unharmed? Our struggle begins to wane, but this was no acceptance, this was dejection. Oh, wait, Don Quixote, no! In commotion, we failed to notice that the Blood Fiend had been quietly advancing at us. We let Don Quixote go at the last second, but we were a second too late. My dearest parent, forgive my transgressions of creating another without thy sanction. Thou shalt become my next kindred! Cassetti screams incoherently as he leaps onto Don Quixote, piercing her neck with his fangs before we even had the chance to do anything. Oh, I did not expect this to be the solution. Faust, what do you mean, the solution? According to this information I had viewed in the past, and once again just now, it's... Dante, take the cover behind me and remain absolutely still. Please do note that the other sinners must never hear a word of what is about to happen. Oh. Don Quixote levitates slightly into the air, the strings on her shoes unraveling as they slip off her feet on their own. Oh, shit. She looks on with bewilderment as her running shoes fall to the floor. And... Ah! Rocinante! I've always had this question swirling at the unfocused backstage of my mind. Why are you always so protective of those running shoes, Don Quixote? Running shoes? Ah. Dost thou speak of our dear Rocinante? Yeah, those. I've battled through thick and thin, feast and famine with dear Rocinante, in sorrow and in joy. No matter the brutality of trials that had struck me, it had been a loyal steed by my side for however long it had been in existence. She doesn't know when she got them. Ah, Manager Esquire, wherefore hast thou not saluted Rocinante as well? This may be a rather auspicious occasion to do so. Nope, I think I'm good. Aha, be not so bashful. Go ahead, go on ahead. Look, Stinky. Small girl is torturing TikTok with Stinky. Stinky they are not. Scuffed as they might appear, Rocinante is in pristine condition. Also, thou shalt not address me as a small girl. Evacuate, evacuate, Don Quixote. Don't tell me you go to sleep wearing those running shoes. I mean, Rocinante. Oh, I have always been quite certain that someone so esteemed as the Manager Esquire would care to ask me how Rocinante fares. I didn't mention that this question was inspired by numerous eyewitness reports from other sinners who saw her wandering in the halls in her pajamas and wearing Rocinante. Verily, Rocinante and I remain bound together, even in slumber. There shall be no separating the two of us. We are not bound by need nor want. We are simply bound together through plight and delight. Now that I think about it, every single identity of Don Quixote was also wearing those pairs of running shoes, Rocinante. Have you ever taken them off? Take them off? Fie, whatever thou mean. As in, detach Rocinante from my body. 'Tis a very odd insinuation thou makest. She looks at me with puzzled eyes, as though taking those pair of running shoes off was somehow an inconceivable idea. They were something much more than just her favorite pair of running shoes. Her odd attitude of treating something so far removed from common sense as something completely ordinary. What does Rocinante mean to Don Quixote? What even is that thing? An overwhelmingly powerful pressure suddenly explodes, radiating in all directions, as the metallic stench of blood suffocates the bus, filling every corner of it with its sickening horror. Then darkness. No, that's impossible! No, that's impossible! In all-absorbing darkness, voice is our only light. You're the second kindred. How did you? I should have felt your presence. I do think I saw a faint outline of an aura. I see a red aura and a long fur adornment of sorts. Through the shimmering aura, I think I saw red eyes. You have committed the sin of Hold on, I need to find my voice here. You have committed the sin of filial impiety, transgressor. I know that voice, but I also don't. I've never heard it in such a low, imposing tone before. It speaks toward the lesser being. Blood fiend, shriveled and kneeling, trembling, pathetic. Mercy, O venerated ancestor, I beg for the mercy of the second kindred. I beg for the mercy of the second kindred. I beg. Insolent worm. Yeah! Crimson droplets of blood slowly rises around the blood fiend's mouth, before congealing and sealing his mouth shut. No language worth its way out of your maw shall be worth my ears. No, to commit the sin of filial impiety by attempting to travel against the bloodstream, to commit such abomination against your ancestor. I cannot well sanction your impudence of continued existence. Jesus Christ. Don Quixote, my man. My goddamn blood fiend. Coagulate, and then melt away. Cassetti's body begins liquefying into a slick stream of blood, his form curdling and crumbling, then dripping to the ground. Rapid, yet ponderously, like that ice cream Don Quixote loved so much, melting away on the floor, heated under the searing sun. Okay, Snack, I was trying to go for that low tone, along with that voice of menace. I can't really replicate Don Quixote's down to the tone, but I wanted to go for something menacing, okay? You. Don Quixote turned to look at me, who was still on the ground after being thrown by the shockwave. And with a cryptic look of pity, she uttered something. Indeed, you must be the promised timepiece. Something I couldn't quite understand. Rocinante, to me. Rocinante, I beseech you. I carefully reached out, grabbed her shoes, and swept them onto her bare feet one by one. One day, she gasped, stumbled in, slumped to the ground. What do you know? It's midnight and we just got through most of the story. Talk about perfect timing, I say. On the other hand, holy crap, it's been 3 hours and 30 minutes. We're already at the finale. Uncertainty. Sometime later, can somebody explain what just happened in a way that makes sense? I knew the sinners would all be shocked and confused. After all, one day, including Faust and Don Quixote, all came back to life after I rewound the clock. All that remained was the destroyed door to the freight car and the disgusting, obliterated remains of what was once Cassetti. Most personnel had lost their consciousness from the mental stress of the prolonged battle against the Blood Fiend. Whatever measure it was that the manager has taken, it can be said that it was appropriate. I guess so. Well, good work, everyone. However, the definition of most personnel excludes 3 individuals. Therefore, it would be most appropriate to direct any questions to them. Wait, who are those 3? Faust, the manager, and Don Quixote, who is still unconscious. Huh, really? The 3 of you? Wow, you were spot on. When did you even have time to notice that? Oh boy. I have identified the 3 conscious individuals by analyzing their walking cadence and voices moments before my loss of consciousness. Right, so what's going on with the last? Why is she still out cold? She appears to be in a state of deep slumber. As she is not at the risk of death, she will be waking up soon. I remember everything, of course. Don Quixote's sudden transformation. How she practically erased the Blood Fiend and his kindred from the world without even moving a finger. But I also remember Faust's last words. Please do note that the other sinners must never hear a word of what is about to happen. Don Quixote was unconscious, and Faust was answering every question with silence. It was only natural that their eyes would all fall on me. That's, you know... Wait, that reminds me. Where's the key card? As I remember, it was in Cassetti's hands. It was in a far more presentable state than he was in before. Sorry. Hold on, was in a far more presentable state than he was in before. So, wait, so what about the keycard he was holding, though? It has been half liquefied. The remains have melted with its finger bones. It appears to have become one with the middle phalanges. Wait. Oh no. Oh no, everyone calm down. Calm down. I said calm down! I really should have packed more cigarettes, huh? How about we force one of these doors open? Master Keycard is not an absolutely necessary element to resolving this situation. What? How? It will require approximately 5 hours to formulate and proceed with an explanation in a manner that will allow the sinners to fully comprehend the exact how of this methodology. Therefore, it will be delivered to you in a digestible, summarized format. Well, that was short-lived. She's acting all smug again. We can utilize the back door of Mephistopheles. This daily confidence in her declaration is more than enough to win us all over. So we headed to the corridor past the back door. Don Quixote swung over one of our shoulders and arrived at our destination. I can't not ask what happened after seeing the state you all are in. Sandy pitter, sandy patter. Grains of sand and seashell-like things fell with every step the sinners took. Ask someone after me. To explicate again. Grains of sand roll around in my throat with every word spoken. Some time ago, Faust explained the simpler gist of this plan as we made our way to the back door. To put it simply, we will spend the time at a space disconnected from the train. The train should be arriving at its destination in approximately 10 seconds, going by the A-Corp timescale. All we must do is to remain somewhere in our original destination for that duration. And with that, Faust came to a sudden stop in the middle of one of the corridors. Wait, are you seriously gonna just open the door? With this many doors in here, are you sure that it's the right one? Yes, this is the correct door. Its safety is completely ensured. Lass, at least tell us what's past that door. I did not bother verifying that particular information myself. It is necessary for future endeavors that I gain the experience of encountering something completely unexpected. What? Oi, wait! Faust did not wait for Heathcliff to finish his sentence before jerking the door wide open. Now, please enter through this door. With Faust's stern command, we quickly walked into a building that looked like a derelict, abandoned hospital of sorts. I think we walked into the middle of a sandstorm. Are we supposed to be indoors? How the heck is this even happening? I can't open my eyes! Tell me I can sound my mouth. Wait, no way. Is this a sandstorm? But aren't we in the inside of a building? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The senators ported out a colorful series of complaints, trying to cover themselves in the blasting sandstorm, but Faust continued to count in that same indifferent rhythm before dragging us out of there just as urgently as she had herded us in. So, we managed to return safe and sound to the interiors of the warp train as it arrived on the P-Corps platforms. As the train was still getting cleaned up, that is, and with our bodies completely covered in sand. Oh, I thought we'd never make it! But whoa, are you guys okay? How did these passengers... We were so happy to be done with this whole ordeal that even the W Corp cleanup agent in the middle of a cleanup mission looked downright hospitable. We are employees of Limbus Company. We boarded the warp train at the behest of your employer. Oh, so you guys are the people that our captain told us about. They really let you guys keep your memories, huh? Oh, that reminds me. One of the employees must be sleeping inside that hibernation pod over there. Oh, that, huh? I've never seen it in action before. Thanks, let me go check. That hidden compartment behind the chair that the cleanup agent crawled into? Instead it was, there isn't anyone in here. Maybe we're looking at the wrong pod? Is this the correct spot? Then the disappearance of the individual who has entered this pod would indicate. I guess these folks aren't all there in the head either. Maybe you guys are just mistaken? I doubt that. Yes, we must have suffered a momentary collective hallucination caused by fatigue. Very well then, we will see ourselves out. Faust cut the conversation short before the other senators began asking too many questions. Now that I became intimately familiar with the meaning of that gesture, I followed her to the outside without another word. We arrived? Rise and shine, lass. Had enough nap yet? I see. I will hear the details of this incident on the bus once we're traveling again. Understood. Any and all relevant reports will be sent to W Corp via LCCAA. And Virgilius was already there when we arrived. He was sharing a conversation with Faust about what went down inside that train with a serious expression. I will now leave with Charon and watch him unfasten Mephistopheles from the train. The minute hand on the manager's head seems to be desperately signaling me that they have a lot of burning questions to ask you. Allow me to give you two some space. I was finally able to ask Faust once Virgilius left. Why did you do that? Faust's body was quite literally blasted to pieces from the sheer explosive pressure that filled the room the moment Don Quixote's shoes came off. It was as though she knew that it was going to happen, because it was the preferable course of action to having the same explosive demise occur to your body instead. I do find it regrettable that you were made to turn the clock despite my knowledge of the high likelihood of my death upon that occurrence. No, I'm not blaming you for that. I just want to know how long you've known that Don Quixote is... That is something I have been aware of since the LCB was first established. The same could be said of Virgilius. Of course. However, it was by the will of the LCA superiors that this knowledge remains withheld from the manager until the appropriate moment. That appropriate moment was back there? According to my private judgment, yes. Well, as my connection to all communications, including what to Faust, has been severed, I was not in a position to receive the headquarters authorization for that action. Right. Though the full truth may remain obscured still, we are once again returned. Returned, that was a weird word. We've returned to one of the war platforms in our own dimension. We've returned to our daily lives of speculating about what's next in our path, and the usual Faust reconnected to Faust has returned. Yes, Faust replied to Yi Sung's nebulous wording with a quiet affirmation. Please do not take this query with any greater import than a mere jest, however. Do you suppose I shall see her again? She shot a puzzled look at Yi Sung. In a way, it was quite the pleasant encounter, was it not? Yi Sung mused ambiguously before leaving us. Phew. The incident at the warp train was such a chaotic mess that it felt shorter than it really was, but I also learned so much about so many things. But was too soon to start racking our brains about what kind of nonsense trial we were about to face in P-Corp, so I decided to enjoy this momentary peace. Oh, do we find ourselves at P-Corp? Explain. Chiquita, you missed out on big time on one crazy adventure. Huh? That vibrated the last few grains of the sand out of my ears. The sinners who woke at Don Quixote with bewildered awakening, grinning. There's no way to know that what we'll be facing here at District 916 where P-Corp was located, but well, we got this, right? The same fate I saw in the Faust who believes in uncertainty rises within me too. I looked up to Faust only to see that Faust was looking at me as well. She nodded at me with her usual barely noticeable smile, and I gave her a light nod in between, back in return. Time to find ourselves another golden ball. Oh my god. It's over. It's finally fucking over. Kanto 7, The Dream Ending. Oh wait, there's the fort will purge this night. Give me a second. Huh. What do you know? I came out of it okay. That's gotta count for something, right? That's gotta be some sort of relief, huh? Ah, jeez. I feel weary. I feel parched. What? Yeah, one last 10 pull. I'm ready when you are. Let's do this. And it's Reds. Yippee. Heathcliff. Roja.
귀엽고 저를 찾으셨군요.
Okay, this guy is... Okay, Sinclair's seen better days. So, Lobotomy, Eagle, Red Sheet, Sinclair. Yeah, the people here have seen better days. Meanwhile... Just going on a whim here. One for Dawn. Okay, now I'm satisfied. I just gotta wait for tomorrow. Whenever that's happening.
야밤의 나를 찾는
So close to the end. So close to the finish.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예의에 어긋난다고 생각하지 않나. 나와 야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예의.
Okay. Goodbye, snack. And good night. So, guys, what should I spend this 440 shards on? I'm taking suggestions. Do I buy some decor? Do I buy a box? Do I buy tickets? I got choices here. Crates it is. $15 and $10 respectively. Oh, it's 10 each.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것.
Let's crack open these red boxes, shall we? Okay. Probably somewhat satisfying, but... How much is Ishmael's again? 261. Well, I guess I guess it's our lucky day. We're gonna be getting more Boatworks-ish. 25 to Ishmael. $313. $344. 20. 40 shards away. Okay, to answer your question, Break, the yellow ones save unless you have an identity in mind. The red ones just open immediately. But don't leave it out for too long, otherwise you'll get your supply cut in half by the time the next reset comes along. Or rather, the next seasonal reset, just so you know.
그래, 네가 할 말이 있다 해도 내게 직접 말을 걸지 않은 건 현명한 처사다. 너보다 높은, 그러나 나보다 낮은 자를 통하도록.
T-Corp Otis or Sinclair. That seems like a curious pick.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예의에 어긋난다.
Oh, you're going for a tremor team. I see, I see. Well, good luck to you on that.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예.
You know, I think I am going to finally end the stream. It has been 3 hours and 48 minutes, about to be 50. So, anyways, I'm going to end the stream now. It's been fun riding with y'all. Peace out, boys. Bye-bye.
야밤의 나를 찾는 것은 예의에 어긋난다고 생각하지 않나?